Inline.
Ah, yeah.
Oh.
Got it.
Owned it. Hands too soft this time of morning. The hand line.
I haven't find it. You got a spare one?
I do have one now.
Is it in your bag?
Oh.
No, I think Kais would have my bag, mate.
Yeah, Riley took mine too. I can spot mine this morning.
Tuck your shirt in and pull your pants up, brother.
Last time you good. You good.
What, you having a crack, mate? You having a crack? Hey, it's fucking fun, mate.
What, under you?
Oh, go! Oh,
Over to you,
On camera, they take catch here.
I had the pleasure of knocking Mark Clark.
you can do this one.
Bang.
You can do.
Straight through him. Out like a light.
You can do this one.
Wet full time.
No, you can't start outside the line. No, it's 6.
Really?
I heard Adam Gilchrist talk about the other day.
Really?
Yeah. You can't start out and jump in. Otherwise it's 6. So you can
Back again and over again. The same thing. Down at Surreal. I've got to knock Matty Bedford
Hey,
out.
practice what about if I do this one? So he hits it. From here.
Hey, love it.
He hits a 6. No, he hits high.
It's like
High.
poor old Matty Bedford.
And then coming.
Stick.
For starting.
That support him.
No, I'm done.
6. You can't go over. He's fellow back there, support him down the back line. He just takes him out.
Out of my way.
What about if you're in? You see it coming over, you're in, you come this way.
Depends where you
step
jump,
out
right?
and then jump back in.
Big one, as if you're in the air, and your last port of contact was over the line.
Yeah, we're just saying that you can't start behind the line.
Yeah, you change your rule.
I had to come to watch myself.
Every time we played it this year, we were in the eye.
So, if I didn't turn up today, I would have had 10, and you've only got 10 from 7th grade fucking fight. Ash is coming over, so it's the game after. Need to go upstairs and fucking grab that customer's a nice bit of will. It might die off about lunchtime and then the sea breeze comes in. Stuck in the middle of nowhere, if there was a bridge right there. Right, when I moved here, when I moved here, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, half these houses were then.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Everyone wants everything fucking last minute. Everyone's straight to me. Look at Penny.
We've got Dawsey and
Kitty's fucking Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. No. Want to get a full trailer load out of New South Wales and they fly it close to 12 o'clock. Try and get one down. You know what?
not like
Yeah. What, you didn't know?
Rod, how used to play? Yeah, Rod Westerway.
Going on, mate?
Brett. No, wait. Dad, can you take these? Brett. You got the ball? Couple of words, Teddy. Do I need to bring the lids?
Good morning, everybody. You are on Duff TV. It's SCA T20 semi, and then grand final. Now, I just got a few delays here. There's about 8 blokes out behind the van there endeavouring to work out how to get the scissor lift up with Martin Duffy trying to reach into the air. But what we can tell you is Old Beach have won the toss in his first semi-final. Old Beach versus Clermont. And Lockyer looks like he's going to be on strike for the first ball. As we look into, is Martin, he's a little higher up than what he was. So we've got a big clash here, we've got a big day, 2 semi-finals, and then the winner of both matches will play off in the grand final later this evening. But the first match to kick us off, Old Beach have had a couple of stars in their team. What we can tell you, though, that it is rather windy here, a little windy than what we thought. You're here with Aaron Peach Roberts, G-Funk on the pots and pans, and Martin Duffy, and we'll have some guest commentators throughout the day. And I imagine Ricky Martin will definitely open up. There he is, just on the right-hand side of the screen. Getting his arms warm. It is a little chilly. There is a breeze blowing across the ground as we're away here, and we will fix this angle as the first ball in the grand final. It's a little wobbly. And so those that are watching us today, we are here at Old Beach. I think it's called Cloak Oval. It is a substantial slope from the left-hand side of the screen, the easterly side of the ground, as it slopes many, many metres down towards the road and the big fence that sits along the road. And I imagine that some balls may clatter into that fenced area. And there's a high, and he liked the look of that. And a 6 to kick it off. Well, he enjoyed the delivery into position early, and Martin, unfortunately, too short on the hips of Lockyer. And he's a man that's been accustomed to whacking the ball over through deep mid-wicket for many years. They're now going to go retrieve that cricket ball. So he might have a little delay here. So the first run's on the board here. Match number 1, Old Beach versus Claremont. Then coming up is Wellington New Norfolk. I'm really looking forward to that game. Nathan Muir, the captain of Wellington, he'll be looking for a top performance from some of his big players. There's some good names in both these sides. Jared Denton will run it for Old beach as well. There's probably a few dusty figures as well. It was the cage, I think, down in the Salamanca last night, where a lot of people would have broken up for Christmas drinks. And a 9:30 start for a cricket game is a little earlier than generally for a 50-over game here in the Southern Cricket Association. We're still waiting to get the ball back. There it is. We'll just maybe mention a couple of our sponsors. Kookaburra, Bendigo Bank, Good Sports and the Greek Chapel Cricket Centre are the sponsors for the SCA. Have been sponsors for some time, so thanks to those. Now you can see the wind just ruffling the shirt there of the umpire. I reckon there might be a bit of a gouge out of this ball as it went a long, long way. Now we're set up right behind the bowler's arm. We've got a little fence in front of us, so we're safe, I think. Although I'm sure Jero will launch himself with some gusto. That's better. Martin Duffy's high in the air now. And just look at the ball travel across the infield. There's a little bit of ginger work. Some ginger legs there and a couple. So there's, I mentioned, a slope down to the right-hand side. It's quite considerable, not a massive boundary here.
You all right, Harry? Yeah, mate. All good, cover.
And I can tell you, sucking in some breath at the moment is Ricky Martin. Now, that's another boundary, but it was lucky. It was an edge. It was a ball that just climbed a little bit on Lockyer. But it went to the fence with hard hands. So attacking start here for Old Beach. 12 runs. I'm kind of thinking the score we're looking for be well in excess of 160 on this ground. Weather is okay. It is a little breezy, a little cloudy as well. The sun will peek through at different stages this morning, but it will get better as the day goes on. All right, so Martin now getting his line. Lockyer probably won't play an expansive drive early. He'll be comfortable just to see the ball wobble. At the moment, the ball should naturally come back into the right-hander, and that'll be helped by the breeze, and also helped by just a little slope on the pitch as well.
Play all the fall before the season starts.
That's short. He liked it again. He liked it a lot. And the umpire raised his hand. That indicates 6. And a disappointing end to the over. I think Martin knew as soon as he delivered that ball that was going to be dispatched. And ended the first over. 2 sixes, a boundary through the slips.
Yeah, what do you want me to do? Hang on, Davin's coming.
Bit windy for it. Too windy for my baby.
So Penniston coming in from the southern end of the ground. That's got a slip in place. Just getting the fingers warmed up in the long sleeves. Hope you're enjoying the early coverage. It's a bit going on here at the moment, I think people say. We've had the scissor lift not work. There was 5 blokes trying to give instructions to Martin Duffy, who is not qualified to use it. He's not got any qualifications really than his camera work skills, and I'm not even sure if he's got a certificate for that, but he does a great job. He does have a car license because he's got the van here today. And there was all these blokes trying to work it out. We eventually got it up and moving 1 minute into the match, and as we commentated the first delivery, as that one's found a very short boundary on the left-hand side. So the leg side boundary here behind square is uphill, but I imagine it's no more than 45 metres. It's certainly, I'd say, under 50, which I think is the minimum standard for a ground these days, but obviously it's pretty safe over there. A few cars have been smashed. That one doesn't get through the ring field. I think they've got insurance here at Old Beach Cricket Club. The club pays for the insurance of the broken windscreens of the vehicles that are parked around the ground. I made sure I parked my ute fair way at the back, so hopefully that one's safe. But the way Lockie is going, who's now on strike, with another short ball here from Peniston, it could disappear onto that leg side and up towards the tennis court. Well, there's a car in danger, just to the left. And it's not a good start here for Clermont. They look genuinely rusty, and maybe not from Friday drinks down at the cage. I think it's difficult conditions. And you've got a gentleman on strike. When the ball's short, he's launching himself back and across the crease and getting inside the line of the ball and depositing it to the leg. And it's not going to matter if you've got 3 or 4 fielders out there. It's going over the top of them at the moment. So the one catcher is a slip. Might have to come out, maybe go to a mid-wicket. And there is one man out in the fence at deep mid-wicket. And there's a sweep. So I hope everyone's enjoyed their festives. Moving into the festive season. This is the festive season of cricket for the Southern Cricket Association. That's a quicker one, flatter, maybe a little bit of overspin as well. They're able to control it. So just looking at the field now, Clay's on strike. So long off is coming back into the circle. In fact, it's the end of the over. That's why long off's coming back into the circle. So 2 gone. It's an attacking start. They're going at over 15 and over. And Claremont may need to make a few changes here. Certainly the short ball's not an option. Unless there's an opportunity to take the pace off the ball. Martin will continue. Lockyer on strike, gully and slip. You just see the length. Now they've got a man just sweeping on the cover point boundary at the moment. So that indicates that it's going to be a fuller over. Going to try and avoid the short ball. Although I think one of the deliveries from Martin, I think he was trying to actually get it up more mid-rift area, and it was a fraction too short. And Lockie was into position really early for that huge 6 backward of square in that last over. Now it's Clay on strike. That's what he's good at, Martin. That's the delivery. He gets a bit of nip. He hits a seam and it just wobbles back in. It's a really difficult ball to play in T20 cricket, or when you're trying to attack, particularly through the offside. And with a deep point in place, that's nearly the perfect line with this field at the moment. And it makes the batsman have to think, well, where am I going to score? I just need to be patient, Old Beach, because the runs are coming at the moment. That's a good one, over the slips. And the hands went up very slowly. Maybe just taking a while to pick it up. Yeah. Would have been a standard overhead mark and go back and kick the goal, I reckon. And there's the replay. No, probably past his fingers before he had a chance to wrap the Peniston's fingers. They are warmed up because he's bowled an over. And now he's just trying to warm his arms up. It is a lot blowy than what we thought today. But I think it's been a pretty miserable spring/summer/winter in southern Tassie. Yeah, and that was a tight enough run. So frustrating start here for Claremont. There's been a couple of poor deliveries that have resulted in boundaries. There have been a couple of balls that have been edged just away from fielders in the catching position And they've also, because of that attacking nature, the field's a little bit on their back foot, and they've also pushed some singles. That's not pushed. That's belted. And there's some rows of houses that are in significant danger. And the camera is out there, and if it goes any further, it'll be in the Derwent. Well, it's exciting stuff here in this T20 semi-final. And some sparkling cricket. And we'll see an example of how sparkling this is. I didn't actually see where that went. A little bit of glary vision there of the ball. There it is. Or maybe some of the houses will need some insurance. The other interesting one is around about a 10 to 15 kilometre breeze, which has probably swung a little bit around to the west at the moment. So that ball's been hit into it, and it's still cleared. So that was a full delivery. I think there's only really one spot to bowl to Lockyer at the moment. It's just outside off, back of the length. And Lockyer, I reckon, picked that previous delivery up really early, just shuffled, saw it full, confident, white ball, and more than dispatched. Well, early days, and the score is mounting already. We reckon about 180 might be on the money. And if no wicket falls here, it could be a little more again. It's a very fast scoring ground. The outfield is in pretty good nick too. And the dimensions of the ground are very inviting for lofted shots. There's Clay. And looks like Matty Carr is going to be coming in from the southern end of the ground. He's getting his arms wound up. Pretty crafty bowler, Carr. He's got a slip in place. Deep mid-wicket. He is right on the rope. The other fielder out at the moment is a long off. He's very straight. I don't mind that for forcefully punched. Doesn't get that ring field, so they've got the field right on the offside for that delivery. So one that was a little shorter. That's providing some problems, and Jade Clay will just knock the ball around. He'll keep the ball on the turf for most of it. A little bit of extra pace there from Carr. You've got to make decisions, I suppose, as a batter. You've got to work out where your scoring spots are. You don't want to stay on strike for too long, particularly when Lockyer at the other end's dominant, as we've got a field change here, is mid-wickets come in. So he's inside, and they put an extra player on the off. So that's, I think this is good cricket. Get Clay, keep him on strike. Try and keep the ball outside off, make him do something different, and there we go. So 4 deliveries, and a little bit of a momentum swing back to Clermont, and some frustrations from Jade Clay as he's maybe considering a leg side shot to deliveries that are outside his off stump. And on the leg side, there's 3 players. There's 2, one behind square, one in front of square at a traditional mid-wicket, and a mid-on as well. So all the protection on the off at the moment. Now, that's a great shot. He just probably put that previous shot out of his mind, and he's able to work that one to the left-hand side of extra cover. We might get a replay. That was an excellent cricket shot. Here we go. Let's just look what he did with his foot. Oh, I thought he might have, it just was actually probably more of a slap in the end. So sun coming out. We hope it stays around for a while. Pretty good over there for Claremont, just to hold things back again. They're climbing up towards 50. They're on 47. Lockyer on strike. We may even have a bowling change here. Let's see what the decisions for the brain trust of Claremont. Penningston having a conversation there, the captain. Imagine Mark Clark will probably be having a conversation too, involved in that, as we do have a bowling change. So Jake Clements. Just a couple of warm-ups with the arm and straight into the action. The wind just dying a little bit here. Let's hope it drops away. It's expecting just to drop off as the day goes on. Should warm up. Got a little marked off area onto our left-hand side, which I believe is where the wet area is going to be today. So I imagine when the grand final's on, a few more people will come down. Both teams that maybe don't make it will potentially hang around as well. So Clements has got another strong offside field. There's a deep point, and then there's 4 players. You would say in the ring, they're just shuffling a few around at the moment. I think he wants him mid-off, but he's not getting it. Now he kind of gets it. It's a square mid-off. So there's Lockie's got a hitting area still to leg with a long off in place, and that's where he goes, behind square. Well, he went down on one knee, and the ball flew off the willow. It was an audacious cricket shot, but potentially against the pace of Clements, there's less risk than potentially Martin. We'll see on the replay. It's hard to bowl to. Once again, just shaping up to go left. His back leg goes back and across to get himself inside the line, and to see the quality then as he actually stays on the offside and then punches it for a single through point. So providing some problems. The dimension of this ground also providing as a bit of an appetizer and an inviter. Maybe just slightly changing the pace. So Lockie, just look at the bottom of his bat then. It's about the first time he's missed the middle. Just that risk example, if you're trying to get the bat from high to low to hit that shot, there is some risk if the ball is just bouncing a fraction. Obviously the ball's still a little hard. The umpire nearly losing his hat as he's trying to come around and signal the wide. It's a little frustrating actually. Not easy to come into this breeze, coming across your body. In the air. Just getting over the infield. So we've had a couple of edges through the slips. Now, top edge just over the infield. That's about the only glimmer of hope at the moment for Claremont. And on for 57.
So close, it's such disaster.
So Brett Lucky on 40. We've got him on 39 on our screen. We'll just ensure we've got a limited crew today due to people on holidays. And I think a few people that are maybe not quite as keen to come out and do a bit of volunteering for us today. Well, there's a bit of volunteering in that. Someone's got to go and volunteer and get it. It's into the fence, 4 runs. So the first really expansive shot from Jade Clay. And he's hit to leg with some authority. He moves to 20. He's had 2 boundaries prior to that, Clay. In fact, 3 boundaries prior to that. 2 of them were nicks. He's tried to find the same spot again, but the fielder is in his way. So Eric Lockyer, just the 17 balls faced off his 40. 5 sixes. 5 balls have disappeared over the rope, over the fence and into backyards at the moment. It's exciting stuff here. And that's a big woolly swing, and then a comment, a generic bit of rhetoric from the fans. Just keep working as we see a replay. It wasn't that far away from the off stump as well. So Carr, he's going to probably bowl a few cutters, I reckon. That's nicked high. Once again, it just evades the fielders. As the captain does the fielding. A little slow at the moment out there, the fielding team. Maybe just warming up to the occasion of this T20 semi-final with an opportunity to play in a grand final early in the evening here. See, there's a field change now as Lockie comes on to strike. I'll stick the head out the van and have a bit of a look at the panorama at the moment. They're still protecting the offside here. Lockie, I don't think is going to play a sweep shot against Carr. We may do, but there's more risk associated with it. Will he go to the offside and try and find that leg? Now, there's a big appeal. And Struner's Carr turned around and thought about it, made some noise towards the umpire. He realised it wasn't going anywhere. That's end of the over. And the score is on to 64. Jake Clement's continuing, trying to get his hair right first. The cellar just getting blown across his face at the moment. Straight to the fielder's fingers. Did not have to move. See the wind in the background there, really. Giving the tree a bit of a touch-up. A bit of a drone around the ground at the moment. That's not the crowd noise. They end up getting a single. Sounds like a lawnmower or something. Just adding to the occasion here. It's suburban cricket here in southern Tassie. And it's a ball that's been just slowed up and it's knocked into a gap. Brilliant efforts. He had his foot on the rope, but when he touched the ball, he didn't. That was a mighty effort running to his left. Now he's got to track back to his position. Oh, there's a big slog then from Clay. Misses it. That was a magnificent bit of fielding from Matty Carr a minute ago. We got that one on replay, Jero. Try and get that one up before the end of the over. We might even show it between overs. He might be in the action again here, Carr. He is. This time, dive is valiant, but he goes over the top of the ball, maybe actually even just past his fingers. He has only got around about 10 or 15 metres to work there to try and get that. There's that piece of fielding again. It was extremely athletic. So the bails have come off. really is southern Tasmanian cricket when the bails come off. We have to get the heavy bails out. Well, he's been warming up to that one, Clay. I feel like he's been waiting for one a little slower back of a length. He tends to feel a little comfortable to just free up the arms and clobber it through the onside, and that's what he's done, and he's found the fence. Other than that, it's not a bad over from Clements. So no wicket down here in the first semi. Old Beach on top. Clermont need to try and work out how they're going to get this first wicket. Is it going to be a bit of luck, maybe a run out? They've had Clay on strike for probably about 70% in the last 3 overs. And he's just worked his way because such a fast start from Rhett Lockyer. They don't need to go hammer and tongs in these sort of middle overs up towards 10, 12. They can, the rhythm can be smooth. They can knock the odd boundary. They will get the odd boundary because of the dimension of the ground, the fast outfield, the quality of the cricket bat, and the quality of the cricket shots. But they don't need to play too many audacious shots. So there's a long on and a long off, and that's knocked out to them. There's also a man sweeping on the leg. Fairly squarish deep mid wicket. And another player just sweeping on the offside as well. So protection down the ground has to be bullish and straight. It's about the only option. You cannot bowl short and at the body at the moment with this field. Lockyer coming on strike, and that's because there's no one behind square deep. There's a fielder inside the circle. And that's bowled. Well, I've got to say, some crafty work by Carr. He worked Lockyer across the crease. There was that tempting location on the leg side where I felt Lockyer wanted to go. Slightly more real estate over there to that boundary square of the wicket on the leg. And he's bowled a couple wide. He's tempted him with a strong offside fielder hit to leg. And he's found the wicket. So there is the breakthrough for Claremont, as that may give them a little bit of momentum and a fraction more confidence. And see the replay again. You see Lockyer just come across the crease here just a little bit. Carr celebrates. As Denton coming out to the crease. Just saunters out, the shirt untucked. You actually might have, yep, just a casual saunter out. Not too stressed about this game. So early wicket here. And it was a needed one for Claremont. Carr gets it. Lockyer gone. Denton to the crease. So got an extra player just coming to the offside. It'd be worth putting in a catching gully, or just, yeah, we go. We've got a slip coming in place there, and we've got the players down at deep mid wicket now coming inside the circles. It's going to be back to maybe back of length for Carr. Long on is inside the ring as well, so still some space behind the leg side fielders if Denton wants to go, but I imagine he'll just work his way in for a few deliveries. They're well on top here, Old Beach. They've got the run rate rapidly going upwards from an electric start from Lockyer. I think maybe the slip's not the right option. I reckon probably a second slip, particularly with the slope on the ground, the way the ball sort of comes off. Got some more noise coming over the ground at the moment, coming through the effects mic. So successful over from Carr. He gets the wicket of Lockyer. And Old Beach one down here. So third over coming up. In fact, it might be the fourth over. We'll have to check that for Clements. We haven't got a live scoreboard at the moment. They've not updated for a little while. So there's some offside protection for Clements. In fact, 4 inside the ring and then 2 out. And that's going to be where he's bowling. He's been pretty good so far at getting the ball outside off. He's only had 1 to leg, and there was a sweep shot from Rhett Lockyer earlier. Most of the other deliveries have been just outside off. So bowling to a plan, bowling to his field, one might say. And that's resulted in a swing from Denton, as he now practices the shot he wanted to play. It's the second wide he's bowled out there. That's nearly touched the grass. See, actually, Clermont said when he bowls, I saw in the last delivery, he might try and get a replay. I'm not sure. We can't do split screens, unfortunately. Jero's only got so much capability and technology to work with, but I reckon we'll see what his right arm does. It's more of a round arm action, and it tends to push the ball down towards the offside. It's all to do with the actual front arm, and often it's the case, as that drags the ball down towards the left for a right-handed batter. It's Clements in. Real delicate bit of nudging there from Denton. Actually nearly found the fence. In fact, it has. I'm surprised it had the momentum to get down to that boundary. There's a good chase on here. We'll just see it on the replay. Right out of the meat of the bat. A delicate touch from Denton. And a delicate 4. Sun is coming out. The clouds are being blown away at the moment. And now, oh, that was a bit of a earner. It's the end of the over. A good one from Clements. There was a boundary in it. There was a wide, but in amongst that, some very good bowling. And the pace for Denton, he probably wants it a little quicker. Or maybe thrown up a little bit more at the moment. It's not for him. And Old Beach remain 1 down. A big thank you also to 911 Bottle Shop, Robson's Meats and Small Goods, St Anne's Living, just across the road, Verve Hotel, which I saw that. Wonderful supporter of Old Beach, and also Montel Tyler. Some of the sponsors supporting the Old Beach Cricket Club. Thanks to all those people that are contributing to community sport. Tell you what, Jake Clements, he's bowling well at the moment, but he's not moving that well through the field. There are a few players in this Clermont team that don't always play A grade. And is the format for Southern Cricket Association T20. It is late in the season. It's close to Christmas. There aren't always enough players, and there's a quick single on here, and that was a woolly woofter. So a few players not available for Clermont today, and imagine for the other teams they're missing a couple as well. The ones that are out there putting their all in at the moment into this blustery conditions here in the northeastern shore of Hobart. Denton. Tapping the bat. Hit in the air. Well, for a moment, I thought the fielder was going to get a chance. There was none. It was over his head for 6. And on the replay, the left leg of Denton went to leg and the ball went to off. That is a shot that probably 20 years ago, players weren't really playing. Not many. Maybe Viv Richards and a few others, but a lot of players are able to get momentum and get power from that position. And it is a position of power as a powerfully struck off drive, sailed across the cross breeze or into the cross breeze for 6, straight over the head of long off. You can hear the hurricane at the moment coming through here in the effects mic. If it's still standing upright, Jarro. Yep. It's actually on the ground. It's probably safe, otherwise it might fly across and take someone out who might be enjoying a cup of tea or a sandwich here at Old Beach. And I think the bales have come off again. I have a feeling they may not have heavy bales. Maybe they can get some blue tack. Well, Denton's got one aim at the moment, and that's to hit down the ground and to leg. And as soon as the ball's pitched up by Carr, he's wanting to be aggressive. And he's got a chance too, because I like this field at the moment. There's a deep mid-wicket on the fence on the leg side, and everyone else is in the ring. So it is inviting, and he's bowling outside off stumps. Quick single. That's good cricket. Just don't want to have too many dot balls in a T20 game. It's the end of the over. One down here. They're climbing up towards 100. Old Beach still on top here in the first SCA T20 semi-final. The festival of cricket in southern Tasmania. So Clermont's bowling his last over as the wind has unfortunately picked up again. And I'm not sure how Martin Duffy's going up in there in the sizzler. We did finally get it into the air. It took a range of opinions. And I did wander over at one stage and realise I'm completely unqualified for this. Having a teaching background, I got no idea how to make a scissor lift go up into the air. Well, that's going to make the scoreboard tick up. We're seeing some balls go in the air, and that one was along the ground. That was a clever and well-crafted cricket shot. Once the gap was pierced through the infield, it was always going to be 4 sort of hands of play there. Twisted and turned as he made contact. The ball flew off the bat though. And the first boundary from him for a few overs. Clements just wants to get the field right. Yeah, he's been trying to... he hasn't been happy with mid-off probably for the whole 4 overs so far, or 3.5. And that's hit to a similar spot exactly where the mid-off was. But they've got a long off, so there's some protection there on that offside. I think he's okay when the ball's been trying to hit back straight, but it is such a short boundary through cover point when he's bowling from this end of the ground. Well, that's in the air, and there is no fielder out there, and that is the longest boundary. It's probably 15 metres longer than maybe any other boundary on the ground. And it's probably one of the few spots you can get 3, but just a couple on that occasion. So the risk was taken. The shot to leg was tried with some success. So once again trying to pierce that offside field, Denton. And he was unable to make contact with the ball. So the 100 has just passed here for Old Beach with that boundary. Or that couple of runs and the boundary prior. So it's a rollicking start here, going at just under 10 and over. And that score of around 190, 200 is very much on the cards. Clermont try and pick it back. Wickets will help. In saying that, they were going at 15 and over in the first couple. So they have been able to bring the run rate back. And that's Clement's done. No wicket for him. 4 overs. 4 quality overs, though. It was a tough challenge at times as Lockie was trying to flick him and sweep him to the leg side of the ground. And a couple of nice shots to the off in his last over from Clay. And his 4 is done. So they'll just have to get their bowling level right. There's probably a couple other options here for Clermont that can come out and have a bowl. So Denton back, same field as previous over. And he's tried to whip that to leg and no success. So Dylan Arnold, he's coming in from that southern end of the ground. Not sure which one end's the preferred end at the moment with this breeze kind of swinging from the river across the player and across the pitch. He's reasonably tall, he's well over 6 foot. Dylan Arnold, and he will get a little bit of trajectory on that ball. Just make it a fraction harder to score, particularly if he's going to jam it in. Maybe Yorkers are the way to go. The old-fashioned Yorker. There are no bails on the stumps at the moment. They keep blowing away. Another full delivery. There is a chance here Denton will try and hit a bit square of the wicket, and he's got protection down the ground. So full and straight is ideal. If it goes a fraction leg side, then Denton can hit over mid-wicket where, or even square it like there. And that's exactly what he's trying to do. But it's just full at the moment. Excellent start here. And Arnold is dialed in. Well, that's touch and go. But it's more go than touch at 6. It was caught by the fielder. Looked like Corey Whitbread out there. He is a good fielder, Whitbread. He had no trouble catching it, but unfortunately he was over the rope, as we'll see. Try and get a replay of that one again. So he actually ended up hitting a bit square than what I thought. Now that's shorter, and the pace taken off it, and Whitbread into the action. It's a significant hill, that Whitbread. He's probably actually looking down under the ground by, oh, it's hard to tell, a couple of metres at least from that spot. But a good over. There was a 6 in it. Other than that, some deliveries are in an awkward spot for the batter to try and score. And a bit of risk with the field, but overall, if you got the ball just on off and full, it was a challenge. The one ball that did go, it was a fantastic shot from Denton, and he timed it well. He did hit it straight to the fielder, but it went over his head, and it was a 6. So 113 on the board here in the first of the 2 T20 semis. And a big thank to some of the sponsors from the Clermont Cricket Club. Channel Marine Services, Pet Pizza. I reckon that's the one out at Austin's Ferry. They've got a beauty Pet Pizza down there at Kingston Beach. Jero's thumbs up, we like it down there. Tas Communications, David Webster, thanks to you. Clermont Football Club, the wonderful Magpies. And a Servo Pizza in Clermont are the sponsors here for the Clermont Cricket Club. So thanks to all those sponsors for both teams. They've got some logos on their uniform, coloured uniforms, a white ball. And there are our sponsors on the screen. That's firmly struck up the hill. Rockets through the infield, 4 runs. So Shannon McLean in the attack here. He'll bowl, and I don't want to be unfair to Shannon. His wibbly wobblers, dibbly dobblers. He will cut the ball around. There's one there. Only just to follow through. A little unlucky, that's a wide, but they do have a little line on the wicket these days. And the extent that how windy it is, the umpire's taking his hat off. Let's hope he's got some sunscreen on top of the scone there. It's a little bit of heat in the sun. It's not a bad length, but it is past, and it's going away for 4. That's the second time Denton's been able to nudge and nurdle the ball to the left-hand side of that fielder inside the ring. And another boundary down through that third man region. Not a spot that they tend to have in short form cricket, either 20 overs or 50. You tend to see it in the longer version, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day games. Third man is a fielding position which has maybe even gone out of favour just generally in cricket. And they're actually going to keep one down there. So that's one of those players outside the ring. And, well, there you go. He could have played that shot again, Denton. But because that fielder's down there, he's tried to whack that ball over extra cover. There's two fielders inside the ring. They're relatively close. They're probably around about 15 metres apart. And behind them is a very close boundary. So just a little flat at the moment, Clermont. They've just stabilised after that wicket of Rhett Lockyer. And he just thought that Lockyer could have, if he kept going and got past 50, the score would have been aiming well over 200. And there would have been some issues, I reckon, for some windows just onto the westerly side of the ground over that high fence. Well, the fence wasn't high enough for Rhett Lockyer this morning. He's deposited him onto the boundary, over the fence, into backyards, and only just missed a vehicle as well. So that's the over gone for Shannon McLean. His first one done. And we'll just try to make sure we got the score right there. It's 1 for 123 on ours. Denton 20 on into the 30s now. Clay on 43. Well, that is magnificent, and I'd say that is the best shot that Clay's played so far. In fact, it's Denton. Definitely the best shot we've seen from Denton as well. And I reckon that might have hit some gravel as I see a replay here. So this wasn't full, and that just pinged off the cricket bat, flew over the ute there and onto the gravel. What a shot. Well, that's in the air. And he's dropped. It did cop a bit of breeze and disappointment for the opening bowler, Martin. And Arnold deserved that. Yeah, he got smacked for 6, but at the last minute, he just didn't get his feet, didn't get his hands to it. You'd like to see those taken. Now there's a second here. Need to do a bit of work, but the throw, they're really off their money at the moment, Clermont. Yeah, they've got some dusty heads from the shenanigans on a Friday night down at Salamanca or wherever they may have been. Maybe work drinks. It's an early start. It's a windy. Rhett Lockyer has gone and attacked them early. And now Denton's taking up the charge. Just a little flat though. Now that's into the scoring zone, but the fielder managed to come around and cut that one off. Arnold's first over was really full, just outside off this over. It's had a bit more variety. Now it's down the ground. 4. We're starting to take some liking to Arnold's bowling. He's not quite as full as he was in his last over. Very small margins of error for a bowler in T20 cricket. And when Denton, who's in some good nick, as you see, a forceful shot down the ground. He's actually well outside leg at the moment too, Denton. That's again. Bigger, better, 6. So Arnold grabs his hat. He runs away from where he is bowling and thinking he needs a break. And we'll just see the extent of this shot from Jared Denton. Over the nets. And that's probably disappeared into some of the drainage over there. That's about to be put in. That was a monstrous hit from Denton. And it looks like a impressive total is being mounting here. They're getting up towards 150, 220 maybe, 225. Still got some hitters to come. Denton's got a half century with that maximum. Clay's only 4 away. And we've got the score right. We're pretty happy with that. We did a grand final a couple of years ago, and it was Gerard and I were in the box. It was just the two of us. It was out at Cadbury Oval, Wellington, New Norfolk, wasn't it? Versus, yeah, it was a calamity in our half-size van at that stage too. And then we had the wrong players, the wrong score, but it was a great finish. That's a great finish. Only 4, but velocity as that one left the bat, and that's a half century. There he goes. So Clay gets one. Denton raised his bat in the last over, and now Clay in this. It seems a long time ago that Rhett Lockyer. That was a gorgeous cricket shot. Well, he's tried it again. What's that put a warning out at the moment of those cars travelling down that road there, like they do in the tennis? You can't stand up and move around while the game or the point is on. Maybe they've got to put a couple of police there or a couple of volunteers, so you can't drive your car past when a batter's about to try and hit the ball, because your vehicle could be in some strife. It's just a bit of respite there as the little dab on for offer, and they've got the third man up too inside the circle, so you did see an opportunity there, Denton, so a little bit of byplay at the moment. But anyone travelling down Jetty Road who's listening to the coverage, or was about to travel down Jetty Road, or was anywhere near Jetty Road today, just be aware there may be a white Kookaburra coming your way. So there's 2 players deep on the offside at the moment. It's one of those kind of confusing fields where you're 3 in the ring on the offside, 2 deep, one at deep point or just forward a point, and a fairly straight, or actually, in fact, I'll say it's a fairly square long off, suggesting that the balls are going to be kind of on and around off stump. Neither batter was keen to try and get it across. That's the end of the over. It wasn't a bad over, that one. Not too many boundaries off it. So just a bit of respite there from old Beats. They need a couple like that. Otherwise, they're going to be chasing a score well north of 200. Denton past half century. Clay as well. And a dominant position here as the players have a quick drink on the ground. So Penniston back on now, the captain. He's trying to get his leg side field right at the moment. So he's got a long off, a straight mid-wicket, deep backward square, and now another player coming into mid-wicket. So a lot of protection on the leg. Can't bowl short still because he can swivel this ball around just behind square leg. They've got a really good offside field at the moment, with the deep point sweeping around and long off as well. But kind of the indication of the field doesn't necessarily give a true indication. That's a nick, that's out. Batter walks. Penniston gets a breakthrough, and that's a very handy wicket. Denton on his way for a fine half century. You could actually hear the nick through the effects mic as it came through my headpiece, and the captain gets a breakthrough. maybe just a little quicker, just got the ball a little bit of overspin. Potentially the ball may have just bounced a bit more than Denton thought. There's applause for Jared Denton's half century. So Islam now coming out. He does like hitting the ball to leg. Some big shoulders on him too. So second wicket after a very good partnership between Denton and Clay. Clay open up, he's on 53. Rhett Lockyer is the other player out. He was out around about 20 minutes ago, and in the middle, well, probably half an hour ago, and in the middle of all that, we've seen some lusty blows, some crafty cricket shots, some lacklustre fielding from Clermont. A drop catch, a few balls that have been nicked through the slips cordon, and now the captain Peniston from the southern end in Islam, and that's can only be signalled a wide as just dragging that one down a little bit. So the ball prior to that, which got the wicket, try and get another look at that one again to see there was a little change as it's neatly worked. He's off the mark there as it finds the fingers of Ricky Martin, who was the player that dropped that catch a few overs ago. Hasn't cost them too much. High. Fielder will not be involved. And another 6-pointer. That was in the air for some while as it climbed into the stratosphere, and there's a smile on Matty Carr's face. We'll see this one. I don't think he was ever in the race for it. He thought about it for a while, and then he realised, hang on, I'm a long way over. And another wide. So not a lot of room for error at the moment from Peniston. A wicket, 2 wides, a 6. Some variety in this over, but the wicket's still pretty critical. Downton can go. Now, that's gone. It's into the trees. Young is starting to take a liking to the leg spinner. 2 big 6s down the ground in this over. And that's the best of the 2. Well, I don't think any field position's going to be able to curtail this hitting at the moment from Clay. It's kind of been waiting and waiting. He's played a couple of lusty shots. Most of the time it's been very controlled from Clay. He's thought about his innings, he's thought about his placement, but now he's gone, well, we've got 8 players that can come out and into the sheds and have a bat, so there is no risk at the moment for losing wickets. They just keep this momentum going, keep the scoreboard ticking over and keep trying to swap boundaries, and there's a quick single. It's another misfield from a Clermont fielder. Trying to chase up one in Clements. He's had the ball chase him a little bit. A couple popped over his head. And that's the end of the over. It was a wicket, but there were 2 big 6s and some wides. And Peniston probably initially thought at the start of the over, this is going all right. By the end of it, not so sure. So Martin's come back into the attack. His couple of overs at the top cost 30. He had a nick through the slips. It kind of went through the fingers. As Clay trying to make room. Trying to find a little gap in that offside. He's done it on a few occasions towards that short boundary up the hill to the left. Couldn't find on that occasion. So Martin's going to have to... Yeah, they bring another player to the off now, and that's probably the only logical decision with this field at the moment. So there's cover point, long off, 3 players in the ring, and I think that's a better field. If Martin allows him to just get it outside off stump, he has to bowl relatively full. That's about spot on from Martin. Sensible from Clay as well. He's just knocked a single there, got Sinsland back on strike. Just wonder if this is worth a little punt here just to bring one fielder up on the off. He's going to keep that long off at the moment. I wouldn't mind keeping just bring that long off inside the circle, bring him into a mid-off position and just try and keep the new batter on strike for a few balls. And that's exactly where it's gone. And that's frustrating for the bowler, I reckon, to see the new batter get up the other end of the non-strikers with a nudge and a push into that mid-off edge to the right-hand side of that infielder. Well, that was an attempted slog, and all result is Martin gets a wicket. The stumps are rattled, and we see the end result. And Clay is on his way. Gets a little tap on the hands there from Mark Clark, and a fantastic innings. He started to accelerate at the end, Clay. He'll get a pat on the back, and he'll get applause here from a fine half-century here in this first of the T20 Grand Finals. I'm actually standing up in the van to get a little bit of a better vantage point, because at the moment, Martin Duffy, the height with it, I actually can't see the stumps. But the stumps were knocked out of the ground. So, wicket down. And Justin Cartledge is the new player into the crease. The big, tall, strong man. Let's see if he can continue the momentum. So Ricky Martin, after that first 2 overs, 30 runs. So he went for a couple of big sixes from Penny. There was a nick through the slips as well. That would have been slightly frustrating. But he's come back in late, got a wicket. And maybe that just makes his day feel a little bit better after that drop catch as well. So same field at the moment for Cartledge. Let's maybe knock it to the leg, get off strike. There we go. Well, it's knocked it to leg, it's knocked it straight to the fielder. Not a lot of celebration for the Clermont players, but Martin's on a hat-trick. It's a very laconic piece of cricket. The shot was laconic, the delivery had lack of energy, and the celebration's even less. There it is, you won't get an easier catch than that. And Cartledge, well, his stay was short, and he's back to the sheds already. As Matthew O'Brien now strides out, a little bit of purpose about him. He's been waiting for a while, and maybe at one stage O'Brien didn't think he was required, but a couple of wickets. He's going to be facing a hat-trick ball. I'm not sure what the records are for hat-tricks in T20 Super Bash SCA cricket this season, but we've got an opportunity to witness one today. I'd imagine the field's probably not going to massively change. They're obviously still trying to keep the boundaries and runs down, but maybe just a slip. Or even a catching mid-wicket. Bring that mid-wicket a little bit. So Martin on a hat-trick. A short cover comes in. Whoa, there was some noise, but it was gently played onto the off by O'Brien. No danger there. It's all smoke and mirrors. And a Martin over, which cost him a couple of wickets. He's come back in, he's got one to go. We're at the back end of this match. We're climbing up towards 200. That of the aim for Old Beach. 3 good scores at the top. Rhett Lockyer got us away. Jade Clay out in the last over, a fine half-century to him. And Jaron Denton also getting past 50. Islam on strike. So no one behind square on the leg side. So cannot bowl short with this field, particularly straight. Cannot bowl short straight. Can bowl straight, short outside off, and that's back over the fingertips of the bowler. Wasn't that far away either. Simon Laddick difficult to come in at the late part of the innings to get the ball on the money, but it's been one of those ones where Arnold didn't bowl out. He was tasty for the Old Beach batters, particularly Clay, as O'Brien works a single. And the good thing we can say here in Old Beach, the wind has dropped and the stumps are back on. Maybe that's an indicator of how gusty it is. The bails, I should say the bails are back on top of the stumps. Now there is another boundary. In fact, it's gone over the top of the rope for 6. I don't think he was intending to hit it there, but that's where it ended. You're seeing the replay, inside out. Just got that left leg moving all towards the leg side. And now able to find some space, and Islam gets it over top of the rope here at Old Beach. That's in the air, long off, just short. I really feel that things haven't necessarily gone completely to the game plan for Clermont. A few balls are just near the fielders, over the heads of the fielders. But generally, there hasn't been too many chances. It's been a fine batting display from this Old Beach batting line up. And there's another one just goes wide of the inner ring fielder. Little leg spinner. And he's knocked it over the top of the crossbar for 6. And I reckon he took a while to pick that up. I think it was Shannon McLean out there at the deep mid-wicket fence. I reckon he didn't see this one straight away. We might be able to get that one just flipped up on the replay again. Here we go. Good work, G-Funk. Yeah, so it was a full toss. He reacted really late, and it was humming as well. And I reckon even if he did catch it, he may have actually landed over on the rope, and it would have been 6 regardless. So things going the way as the barbecue. A pool table, actually, not a barbecue. A couple of pool tables have arrived. Is that for the after-day party? Is that a community centre over there, Jero? I think it is the community centre. So they've got a little pickup truck, got the pool tables in. Good little setup here at Old Beach. At the moment, a few rusty heads are not interested in the bar, which I think is going to be set up a little bit later to our left-hand side. There's Martin bowling his last over. So Penningston's still got 1 to go. He may be happy with Laddick. Laddick going for 16 in his last over. 188 on the board. Now, that's right in front of us. Easy. Easy as you like. Matthew Carr taking a comfortable catch. Just a few wickets tumbling at the back end of this innings. Islam gone. 3 wickets have fallen in the last 15 deliveries. So they've just probably dragged this from a potentially a 220 score to maybe even keeping them under 200. Scott Johnson now at the crease to provide a bit of fireworks. He's got this sweater on, so we can't see his number 3. He's got the long sleeve, so he's keeping himself warm. Martin. O'Brien on strike. Just slowed it down, keeping himself in this game. They've got plenty of good batters, Clermont. Got a few missing today, but they've got plenty of power in there. Top 6 and 7. And I think that if they keep this under 200, they're a chance. It's really finished off well here. Yes, there's not set batters in at the moment for Martin. And he had, you know, a high quality former Premier League cricketer and T20 player for Tasmania, Brett Lockyer, at the top of the innings with lots of power and strength, and Doughton and Clay. But he's done a particularly good job as a gruntish, growly appeal back of the umpire. Nothing doing in a leg bite. So brings a new batter on strike. In fact, it brings Brack O'Brien still on strike. Well, there we go. We've had it all today. Little leg glide. That was actually a genuine cricket shot about 120 years ago, when the bowling was probably a little different. Trying to hit the ball between your legs. What's that called? The Chinese cut or the French cut, is it? I don't know. We'll have to look that one up. I know it's got a name. Someone maybe tell us on Facebook or Twitter. Or we haven't got Tubes Taylor here. He's across the way, covering off the Tassie team, the Hurricanes in Alice Springs, and he always has a lot of Twitter followers providing some social media. I don't have any of that rubbish. Old school, I write letters, pigeons. Last over. Johnson on strike. That's 6. Well, Johnson got a gift. He got one that was on his hip, and it was full, and it's 6. So it is a tough gig. I mentioned when Laddick was bowling his last over, to come in the 17th over, or the 18th over, and then bowl the 20th. The only benefit at the moment is that the batsmen are a little new to the crease, as that's been worked out towards the deep mid-wicket fence, and only a single. So good result there for the bowling team. So they're climbing up. One lusty blow, and they'll be past 200. There it is. That's over. That's 6. 200 up. Well, Matty O'Brien has launched that one, catapulted off the bat, catapulted over the fence. Laddick needs to get it straight, fairly full. Not there. Not there. Not the right spot. Tough conditions. And another one into that long on position. And the second 6 of this over. So all that momentum swift swing that came back towards Clermont, it's now gone against them in these last couple of deliveries. Such a topsy-turvy brand of sport, T20 cricket. It swings and changes, and that one's wide in the air. Some work to be done there, sweeping, and they'll get a couple. Keeps him on strike, so a good result there for Old Beach. Not a boundary, but a good result. It keeps O'Brien on strike, and even short and wide outside off's a dangerous ball to bowl, but it's probably harder than to hit the leg. O'Brien looking to want to hit straight. There's 2 fielders there. It's not a bad one. It's in the air, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Just through the fingers. And I think it's another 6. Well, they've had a hard day in the field, Clermont, and it isn't getting any easier in the last couple of deliveries. And the last ball went for another 6. I think there's still a ball left, surely. No, it's a 4. So the umpire lay very low. That is the end of the innings. What a performance. They did end up getting very close to the 220 mark we talked about around about 45 minutes ago, as O'Brien and Johnson, the 2 players at the end. O'Brien with some fireworks. Some mighty blows down the ground. And a mighty score here for Old Beach and Clermont. They got their work cut out, chasing 216 for victory. So it all kicked off with Rhett Lockyer. He hit 5 sixes in his innings of 42 of 21 deliveries. It was fireworks, it was entertaining. Matty Carr got him bowled. Clay and Denton then came together and they put on a fine partnership. They took the score up to 153 until Denton finally lost his wicket. He made 53, 4 sixes, 4 fours in his innings. And it was a bright and blustery day. 28 minutes he was out there in 36 deliveries. It was entertaining from Denton as he got and kept the momentum of Lockyer. Clay and then Islam came together. Clay then eventually lost his wicket for 67 as he tried to waft a Ricky Martin ball as he came back in. And he's 67, 41 delivery innings, peppering the boundary on 8 occasions and making the ball disappear over the rope on 2 occasions. Islam with a couple of big blows, and at the back end, some massive sixes from O'Brien, and Johnson also remained not out. It's hard to sort of say the pick of the bowlers. Arnold came in and bowled one really good over, then his second over went for runs. Penniston picked up an important wicket. Martin towards the end. You'd probably have to say Martin, after getting some stick from Denton and co, particularly actually was Rhett Lockyer early. As we're going to see a few replays, this is the second over. As one of the mighty blows from Rhett Lockyer. So Martin in the end, 3 wickets, 4 overs, 3 for 34. Penniston, 1 for 30 off his 2. Carr, 1 for 23 off his 4. Clements, who had some good deliveries but had hard work at times, none for 37 off his 4 overs. He was the most expensive who bowled out the 4 overs. Arnold, who I mentioned, did bowl one really good over, but then got taken downtown in his second. 29 for his 2 overs. McLean at the end, fought hard, 2 overs for him for 19, and Ladick bowled a couple. So we're going to have an innings break here. It's a big chase. Enjoy the replays of the first innings and some hit and giggle here in the SCA T20 Grand Final. Once again, thanks to our sponsors. We're going to have a break here on Duff TV. You're in the chair here with Aaron Peach Roberts. Martin Duffy's come down from the sky to have a little bit of break. And the chase is on for Clermont. They've got a big chase indeed. 216's their target.
Oh, you're going that in?
Is that a high score for the year? What? It's only the second time I've been over, John.
Yeah. High score for you is 297. 296.
Oh, they always got to back. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I want to get back.
Arnold's first over was really full, just outside off this over. It's had a bit more variety. Now it's down the ground. 4. We're starting to take some liking to Arnold's bowling. He's not quite as full as he was in his last over. As we see, a forceful shot down the ground. He's actually well outside leg at the moment too, Denton. That's again. Bigger, better, 6. Nice Van at that stage too. And then we had the wrong players, the wrong score, but it was a great finish. That's a great finish. Only 4, but it's velocity as that one left the bat, and that's a half century. There he goes. So Clay gets 1. Denton raised his bat in the last, but kind of the indication of the field doesn't necessarily give a true indication. That's a nick. That's out. Batter walks. Henderson gets a breakthrough, and that's a very handy wicket. Denton on his way for a fine half century. You could actually hear the nick. Cost them too much. High. Fielder will not be involved. And another 6-pointer. That was in the air for some while as it climbed into the stratosphere. And there's a wicket, 2 wides, a 6. Some variety in this over, but the wicket's still pretty critical. Downton can go. Now that's gone. It's into the trees. Young is starting to take a liking to the leg spinner. 2 big 6s down the ground in this over. And that's the best of the 2. Well, I don't think any field position's going to be able to curtail this hitting at the moment from Clay. It's kind of been waiting and waiting. He's played a couple of lusty shots. Most of the time it's been very controlled from Clay. He's thought about his innings, he's thought about his placement. But now he's gone, well, we've got 8 players that can come out and into the sheds and have a bat. So there is no risk at the moment for losing wickets. They just keep this momentum going, keep the scoreboard ticking over and keep trying to swap boundaries. And there's a quick single. It's another misfield from a Clermont fielder. Trying to chase up one in Clements. He's had the ball chase him a little bit. A couple popped over his head. And that's the end of the over. It was a wicket, but there were 2 big 6s and some wides. And Penniston probably initially thought at the start of the over, this is going all right. By the end of it, not so sure. So Martin's come back into the attack. His couple of overs at the top cost 30. He had a nick through the slips. It kind of went through the fingers. Well, that was an attempted slog, and all result is Martin gets a wicket. The stumps are rattled and we see the end result. And Clay is on his way. Gets a little tap on the hands there. So same field at the moment for Cartledge. Just maybe knock it to the leg, get off strike. There we go. Well, it's knocked it to leg, it's knocked it straight to the fielder. Not a lot of celebration for the Claremont players, but Martin's on a hat-trick. And the good thing we can say here in Old Beach, the wind has dropped. And the stumps are back on. Maybe that's an indicator of how gusty it is. The bales, I should say the bales are back on top of the stumps. Now there is another boundary. In fact, it's gone over the top of the rope for 6. A little leg spinner. And he's knocked it over the top of the crossbar for 6. And I reckon he took a while to pick that up. I think it was Shannon McLean out there at the deep mid-wicket fence. I reckon he didn't see this one straight away. be happy with Laddick. Laddick going for 16 in his last over. 188 on the board. Now, that's right in front of us. Easy. Easy as you like. Matthew Carr taking a comfortable catch. Just a few pigeons. Last over. Johnson on strike. That's 6. Well, Johnson got a gift. He got one that was on his hip, and it was full. And it's 6. Bowling team. So they're climbing up. One lusty blow, and they'll be past 200. There it is. That's over. That's 6. 200 up. Laddick needs to get it straight. Fairly full. Not there. Not there. Not the right spot. Yeah, welcome back here on Duff TV. Aaron Peach Roberts, and the chase is on for Clermont. And the opening bowler's now opening the batting like school cricket. How's that, Jerry? Yeah, there we go. It's got the got some fun and games here at Old Beach. We've seen Rhett Lockyer, Downton, and Clay really get on top of this Clermont bowling attack. Now it's a turn for Clermont with the bat. So Lockyer going round the wicket with his little leggies, fairly flat and fast at the moment. So chase here on, and we've got a bit of help here in the commentary position. Shannon McLean from Claremont Cricket Club is coming to the Duff Mobile. G'day, Shannon.
How you going there, bud?
Good, mate. So at the moment, a fair chase here, Shannon. Lockyer bowling, and you've got the big opening bowl at the other end for earlier on. Martin on strike. And he's just found his stumps.
I think the big fella had a few last night. He's not looking the best out there, Big Sauce.
He had a little bit of sauce, did he?
I think he had a few too many sauces.
Is that a bit of a ritual there for the Clermont Cricket Club, just to entertain themselves on the Friday before Christmas?
Yeah, it's. I think it's just about everyone, isn't it? That last Friday, and nobody wants to be playing cricket on the Saturday. So what actually happened there? I thought he was bowled. What's going on? I missed that.
Well, the stump was out of the ground.
Oh,
I didn't actually see the ball hit the stumps.
Well, I've seen the stumps spread everywhere, but the big source is still out there. So obviously, it was a free hit, was it? Missed what happened earlier.
So we do apologise as we're getting Shannon into the box here. We missed a free hit, so that was why it was such a casual. As Rhett Lockie didn't get the wicket. So we're back in action here. So what was it like out there, Shannon? Pretty tough work, I'd imagine, there for the Clermont Cricket Club in their bowling performance.
Absolutely.
What was the wind fairly challenging as well?
The wind is quite challenging out there, yes. As you can see, that they basically attacked from one end, and their tactics worked out pretty well.
Did Penniston kind of get a rhythm with his sort of captaining there? Because it's a really difficult ground to captain on, isn't it, when they're going?
No, Penniston's no good.
All jokes and giggles here.
He's done all right. But, in all seriousness, being the sort of last weekend before Christmas, we were struggling for numbers, so as I think a few other teams are as well, but yeah.
So it's second over here, away here, Old Beach, you'd imagine are in the advantage position.
Yes, just slightly.
So we've got Thomas Blackwell bowling from the northern end of the ground. So he's getting his field right at the moment, Blackwell. So he's got a bit of protection on the leg side. So there's two players inside the ring plus a player just behind square. But there's no room for error if he bowls too straight here. The ball will disappear to that short boundary on the leg side. The only catching position is actually in the gully region. So actually you don't have a slip in place. We've got a gully as our only catcher. So what's your cricket lineage, Shannon? Where have you applied your trade over the years?
Basically at Claremont for the last 20 odd years, and started at Clermont before that. So yeah, it's been basically only playing today as a fill-in because no one else is available.
Obviously, a bit of a challenge, obviously, late in the year.
It was, but superb fielding by me out there. If anybody's seen it out there, nice catch at square leg.
Probably was the easiest catch.
Diving,
one of the easiest catches I've ever seen.
Diving full stretch to the right. And,
unfortunately, we do have it on screen. We'll replay it later for you, Shannon.
No, we don't need that.
What
we do need to see is Rick Martin's drop catch. I'd like to see that on replay a few times.
Well, I know that Rick did look like he tried to get around to that one. He had a bit of stick when he did his first couple of overs, particularly his first over. We won't give him too much lip here on the live coverage. We're in the second over. 216's the chase. And the first couple of overs haven't found too much for the two Clermont openers. So
the big question is, how's Duffy going with that scissor lift out there?
Well, as we've been mentioning through the coverage. Well, I don't think any of us have worked it out. We may need the manual. And another ball.
Come on, Westerway, that's wide. Put your arms out, son.
And there's a bye there, so a big throw of the hands at that one, just wide outside off stump. So only as I mentioned, only a gully in place at the moment. So there's also a third man. So clearly this ball has to be pitched on and outside off, back of the length. Can't bowl too straight. Probably can't bowl too full with this field. That's about the right spot.
And that's out.
That's found the fielder.
That's point, backward point. Yeah, he's gone.
Well, wonderful catch. Important wicket. And Old Beach firm even further now as Claremont lose their first. So disappointing on the batter as you try to get that one through the off. Unable to pierce the field. And we might see a replay on that catch as well. And the Clermont, they lose their first. He certainly got plenty on it. So the reason why I didn't, the reason I didn't call it straight up.
There is very average. That'd be the Duff man, I'd say.
Well, I think he's in a pretty disadvantaged position at the moment, Duff, is Corey Whitbread. We know he can play. So Whitbread strides out to the crease for Claremont. You hear on Duff TV, SCA, the chase from Claremont, chasing a very large total of 216 for victory here on this small oval at Clermont. It should say at Old Beach. The wind has died a little bit, which is a positive sign. How does Whitbread usually like to start off, Shannon? Is he going to sort of play shots early on?
To be honest, I haven't really seen him bat.
So we've got Martin on strike. Lockyer bowling his fast little spinners, and he's got a good offside field. I like this field from Brett Lockyer. So he's got four players kind of in front of square on the leg side. There's a player just behind the point area. And there's 3. He's going to be bowling very much into the body. And that's a wicket.
That's enough.
Well,
makes it a little bit tougher.
Well, it makes it extremely tough. Second down. Lockyer got it, cramping up. Martin takes his gloves off. Disappointment at Clermont, a 2 down.
If we're going to be any chance, Marto needed to get the bulk of the run, so I think it's yeah, a bit tough from here.
Well, I think it's extremely tough, Shannon, definitely.
Me batting at 9, 10 or 11, I reckon I might go out there and at least get 100.
You might have to think about going and putting some protective equipment on soon if the wickets continue to tumble down. Matty Carr now into the crease. I still feel like these are the 2 best batters, Carr and Whitbread, 2 quality performers, good thinkers of the game. But you've got a very smart cricketer, Brett Lockyer, bowling from the southern end of the ground, bowling his little spinners round the wicket. He's got an excellent field, and I reckon that had a play.
I reckon he's coming back over now. He's round to the left-hander and back over to the right.
So, Shannon, how's your season been? You mentioned you're kind of coming into the A-grade side today. You've generally...
Basically only played this year as a fill-in. It's helping out here and there when required. Bit too old these days to be playing full-time.
Well, it's a fair commitment, isn't it? In a cricket game every week. T20's maybe a little bit better, but potentially there's 2 days, or I should say 2 games of cricket on today if you're successful. But yeah, a fairly large commitment. How many years have you playing cricket for?
Shit, probably since high school. So was I about 12, 13 then, and yeah, so quite a while.
Lockyer in again, and Carr is away with a quick single.
He's off the mark.
There's some rusty fielding out there in the Clermont innings, and now misfield here from Old Beach. So
yeah, a few of the boys were a bit rusty. Probably none more than Rick Martin. Yeah. The big red was looking very wide out there early.
So Carter's getting the chalk out.
Get out of the way, umpire door. Let him bowl, son.
He's just waiting to get the field right. Now she's right. It's Carr getting the gloves on, facing the first ball. Lockyer going back round the wicket.
Whitbread on strike.
Whitbread, I should say. So the only catching field at the moment is mid-wicket. And the rest are all on the offside. It's the end of a successful over from Brett Lockyer. He's got 1. He got the big wicket of Martin. And in the chase of 216 here, Clermont in trouble. 2 down early and not many boundaries flowing.
None at all.
So what are some of the other players here for Clermont that might be a chance here, Shannon, to get some of the runs besides the ones we got?
Let's have a look. Like I say, if we were to be any chance, Rick Martin was what we were required to get the bulk of the runs. Jakey Clements, he's capable with the bat. Yeah, Simon Laddick, hopefully he can bang on a few as well, if required.
Yourself as well, maybe.
These 2 might get us over the line. Yeah, if we get down to me, we're in a bit of trouble.
What's the strategy then, do you think, from Clermont at the moment, from the 2 batters out there?
Well, to be honest, you don't have much time to get yourself in with the score we're chasing, so have a look. Anything in your zone, you've got to have a crack.
Well, that was partly in the zone. It's knocked out towards the boundary. There's a chase on. It is the longest. It's going to be touch and go. Looks like it's going to be cut off. And a neat shot for 3.
The ground seems to have got bigger since we've been batting.
You know, and the wind's dropped as well, which I'm not sure that's probably an advantage for the bowling side, trying to push their way into the breeze and bowl.
Definitely very tough bowling from that bottom end when we were fielding.
There's a bit of a rise too, isn't there, Shannon, coming from this southern end of the ground, or northern end of the ground, I should say. A bit of a rise up as Blackwell are about to take that on at the moment. As they've got a third man in play. He's just going a little square up the leg side to the left-hander. Just the 3 inside the circle.
No, I'm back again.
Well, that one just ducked in a little bit up the slope. And a little bit of excitement there as the arms raised by the batter. So he's just going to try and push it across the left-hander. There's another one, and just the left leg there, the back leg, instead of going across, just went sort of triggered towards the leg side, which made it very difficult to play that little cut shot. A lot of room out there. There's not a lot of valley for runs if you try and hit it through that backward point area with the third man covering, but some good bowling at the moment. What do you reckon? That was relatively close, wasn't it?
Looked fairly close on the screen, but
we might see that one on the replay again, Jarrett.
Can we go to the square leg camera?
Well, we're a little limited on cameras. We've got 2. This is not a bad angle, I reckon. It's a nice bit of fielding.
Oh, no, I think he might have been home. Shot.
Finally.
Got some runs, a boundary.
Well, 6 runs.
Is that the first of the innings?
That is, yes, that is the first.
Who said that, Matty or... Yeah, Matty Carr.
So Carr launches one for Clermont. And they're away in this chase. And they'll need a dozen plus more of those. And they'll need them in a bit of a hurry.
At least.
So Lockie to continue from the southern end of the ground.
Been pretty tight so far.
Well, he has
from that end, which is something that we couldn't do. So,
what is the challenge from that end? Because it seemed like the bowlers there were getting taken downtown.
It was blowing a go, straight down, back over your head, and over there towards the park, the skate park there. So.
O'Brien hit a few late, and there was quite a few sixes straight down. I mean, it's not a long boundary. What would you say that the length of 55 maybe? 50, 55, 60. I don't think it's any more. It's not the shortest boundary, but square the wicket on the offside at the moment. It's the shortest. That's slightly uphill, but there were a lot of boundaries hit down.
I think a little bit had to do with Mark Clark being down there. Like, he's not the greatest fieldsman, so
you're copping it when your teammates come back and watch this the replay of this one. There's going to another. There might be a second run here. That's been misfielded. And I tell you what, they're in trouble here at the bowler's end. No, he's decided to throw it to the keepers. May needed to go the other way.
That worked out all right for us. Thought we were in a bit of trouble there, but all good. Yeah, no. If we go back and watch the replay in the last, I think it was the last delivery, or second last.
Yeah.
Simon Laddick should have had a wicket there, but Mark Clark not up to it.
Well, I think it was a really difficult chance for Clark.
Nah.
And that's going to be 4 byes.
He's just no good. Talks up a big game in the field, Mark Clark, but when it comes down to it, he's, not McLean-like, well, let's say.
Yeah, I think you're putting a little bit of honey and rice on that one there, Shannon. I think Mark Clark had a pretty tough gig out there, as did the other fielders, as Lockyer.
At the end of the day, in the scorebook, it says McLean 1 caught, Clark, I don't see a catch there for Clark, or Rick Martin, for that matter.
Really tying things up at the moment. Lockyer not giving the batter any chances for his arms. We've got another helicopter going over the top, providing a little bit of noise through the...
I think it's a plane.
Effects, Mike?
Pretty sure it's a plane.
Now an inquiry from Lockyer.
Not out.
And he came towards Doran there and asked the question. And he didn't get a response other than, no, not out. So end of the over from Lockyer. He's 3 down.
Still again quite tight compared to what we were at that end. There's Big Sauce Martin as he's walking past the van. Start talking about that drop catch again. Right. Sorry about that.
No, all fun and games. We're enjoying it here in the SCA. We'll just give a yell out to some of our friends here, Kookaburra, Bendigo Bank, Good Sports, and the Greg Chappell Cricket Centre out there. They're still at Derwent Park, aren't they, Shannon? Or they're just in Moona there?
In Moona now,
yep.
yeah.
They've just moved, so a little while ago. So thanks to those sponsors.
In the old cash converters building, I believe.
Is that where they are? Is cash converters still a thing?
They are. They're down the road a little bit further where the old tool shop used to be.
Oh, yeah. Thomas Blackwell's done a good job here for Old Beach bowling. Getting the ball just across the left-hander. Hasn't been able to get him away at the moment. He's not providing any balls that are drivable. He hasn't really bowled a short ball either from a lively pace and jamming that one out. Now, I'm not sure about the running at the moment, Shannon, but there's been a few opportunities.
I'd almost say there will be a run out in the next couple of overs the way these two are going at the minute. It's not pretty.
You don't have to be Nostradamus to work that out. Just remember the optics at the moment are run out territory. He's got one player deep on the leg, just protecting that straight delivery that Blackwell bowls. He hasn't bowled too many there. Most of them have been
nice looking strike.
And that backward a point and a boundary.
Almost doubled our score.
Yep, so that just gets things ticking along a little bit here. It's a car now into double figures.
That was Whitbread. Corey's the left-hander.
No, it's just saying cars in double figures.
Corey's in double figures. No, that's what you meant.
Once again, chance for a run out there as Whitbread was off. I reckon Whitbread's got a bit of risk here. What do you reckon, Shannon? He's trying to hit the leg at the moment. I feel like he's seeing that leg side boundary and he wants it, but he's not getting anything in his hitting area. There's one a little bit. It was quite full.
Yeah, they're not really giving too much away at the moment. It's been pretty tight.
You can't bowl short though, I mean, can you? I mean, we saw that from the
Clermont at the stumps, and yeah.
So the wind now just gusting up again here at Old Beach.
Shot.
Well, that has been pummeled into the leg, but she's
to the fielder.
Yeah, good sweeping there on the leg side boundary.
Unfortunately.
That's probably the longer boundary too, but it is downhill. And it does race across.
Certainly not the area I'd be looking to buy in a house.
Well, or even driving your car at the moment. There's some danger in it, isn't it, when Rhett Lockyer was going down Jetty Road there here at Old Beach. I was chatting to Paul Rogers before, the coach of Old Beach, and he was saying they've actually cut the grass gradually. Or he, not himself, but the council here has cut the grass a little shorter over the last couple of weeks to get it slick and fast. Well, a lot of the deliveries have been going on the full, so the grass hasn't had too much of an impact on this small ground. There's Matty Carr. It's got a bit of a spread field at the moment. So it's a long off, long on, and he hits it to leg, and that's going to find the fence. Well, it's nearly touching distance there on the leg side. What do you reckon, 40, 45 metres there, Shannon, I reckon?
Yeah, it's quite short.
And there's a little bit of an uphill gradient there at the end, but that was nicely timed and raced off the cricket bat of Matthew Carr and found the fence.
I reckon I could almost sprint that distance. So yeah.
Well, he's tried it again. Same result.
Again.
A little square on that occasion. 2 boundaries in a row and a little bit of momentum here for Clermont. What do you reckon? Is it a bit about an in and out field, or do you try and defend one side of the ground? What would be your strategy?
Depending at the moment, I think you'd probably try and defend that leg side and straight where the wind's blowing. Obviously, that's the side of the ground Matty's targeting, but he's gone the other side. So,
well, they're going to get 2. That ball's only bounced maybe 7 or 8 metres outside the circle, and they've got 2 as it got held up in the air. It was in the air for a long time, but there wasn't any fielder too close.
yeah, it's a bit hard. It's just like that side of the ground. Definitely the area you'd probably be targeting at the moment, but the as a bowler, you'd be trying to put it outside off. And
well, all he's targeted there.
There it is.
Is the BMX and skate track over there. That's gone for 6. And that's a second of the innings. And it's been an expensive over here from Lockie, who's been so far outstanding. He's got a wicket. He's jamming it up. He's decided to bowl outside off and actually works against him because what he's done is packed the onside field with 3 players on the fence. And then he's thrown the ball a little wider outside off after a couple of boundaries. And what has resulted, Shannon, is they've been able to free their arms a bit more. It's actually been easier.
Loosened it up, yeah.
Probably bowled a bit back of a length as well, which means that Matty Carr's been able to sort of get underneath the ball, and that was a gorgeous cricket shot and it went a long way. I think actually, it's not just cars that are in trouble at the moment, Shannon. There's some kids over there that are actually going up and down with their PMXs that are in a bit of strife too.
Might have to go and have a go on the BMX myself and see how we go.
Well, how many? A few
Do a
years
couple
ago?
of jumps.
Yeah,
a few years ago.
Quicker one.
As long as there's no parked cars over there, it should be fine.
Yeah, or other children, or other adults even. So an expensive over here. It's just eased the pressure off Clermont, but they're going to have to keep going. And he's going to try and get it again, but that's going to find the fielder out there.
Single and keep him on strike for the next over.
Yeah, that's a good result. End of the over. SCA T20 semi-final. 2:16's a chase. Claremont are getting up towards the 50 mark. Whitbread and Carr in, and a very good over there from Matty Carr.
Raced away to 28. Only need another 100 of those from him, and we could be a chance.
That's right. Who's doing the coaching at the moment at
Tristan Pennison.
I say he's a busy individual, Tristan.
Busy time, yeah.
Look at bottom edge then. That's going to race away for 4.
Can't set a field for that.
No, you can't, and that's frustrating for the bowler. Fairly frustrating for the wicket keepers too, because he had no chance of getting onto that one.
There's not much you can do there. It's part of the game. It's
actually well, we saw a couple of 8-ball tables come into the little community centre over there. Looked like he had the cue into that one. Get the chalk back out. Thomas Blackwell's had a good little spell here. He's at the back end of his spell, so they decided to bowl both the openers out here, Old Beach. He's been able to jam up the batters. He's been really good against the left-hander Whitbread. He's been able to just work the ball across him and jamming up Carr as well. Carr looking like he wants to take on the bowler from the other end, which, as Shannon mentioned earlier, it's probably the harder end to bowl from with that breeze, and also hitting straight down towards the entrance here to Old Beach Oval.
First time Corey's been on strike for a little while. It'll be interesting to see what he tries to do here. Whether he picks a single or he...
Well, he's got a bit of a space on the offside. There's a little bit of protection. Mid-off now just coming inside the circle. So I actually might try and keep him on strike for a few deliveries. There's a deep point, but there's no one behind. There's also a third man, but there is a nice bit of space that's around point region. So could potentially just stay inside the ball and try and hit it through that. Instead, he gets one on the leg side and a wide. So probably the first really bad delivery there.
We'll take that.
Take that and take the few more.
Yeah, I'd say Corey would probably look to drop and run here and let Matty have a go at the other end.
It's not a bad strategy, I reckon, at the moment.
Hold up the end and try to be there at the end of it.
Well, we haven't seen too many Yorkers. I noticed in your innings, Arnold bowled a really good first over. He bowled a bunch of good Yorkers, and then next over, just missed his mark by probably half a metre. Like, just such how hard it is to sort of bowl in T20.
Yeah, only a young bloke too, and he did bowl from the difficult end. So, like you say, his first over was really good. Second over sort of missed the mark a little bit and went for a few runs, but
There's a length delivery, and that's a firmly struck shot, but there's a fielder there sweeping on the offside, and only a one. So even when they're firmly striking the ball, it tends to hit the outfielder. So you might just say Rhett Lockyer has his field placement right, and it was hard for Penniston sort of to nudge and move that field and get the angles right, because it's a real game of angles, isn't it?
The field is right, and they're bowling to their field, so sort of not really giving you too much loose at the minute.
So Carr now with another opportunity. Now, that's in the air. It's just going to land to the right-hand side of the point fielder. Probably wasn't the quickest player in the field there.
Big Justin Cartledge, was it?
I think it was. He only had a
moving a little bit like myself out there at the moment.
Well, he had a fairly short innings too, Justin. He came in.
Wasn't a bad catch to get rid of him.
Well, I was about to match one who was coming from not far away. Little tuck away to the leg where yourself was just standing there waiting for one.
Diving full length.
Another one that's down the leg. You just see the frustration there on Blackwell's
Here we go.
face.
The coach of Claremont's just about to walk past the van. We might get him here for a couple of comments. He's declined the invite into...
Well, I think he probably doesn't want to be sledged, although if he gets in the commentary box, he can get a couple back on you, Shannon.
He can get a couple back. I've actually given him nothing to give any sledging about. I think it was one of the only bowlers didn't get hit all the way for 6, and I've taken a catch, so...
You've come unscathed. There's
I've done all right.
4 byes there. So up and down over there from Blackwell. He's bowled out. He's bowled his 4. Lockie's bowled his 4. So we've got a couple of new bowlers coming on here for Old Beach. Clermont have just steadied things a little bit. And they've got the score to 61. Carr doing most of the striking at the moment.
I'd like to see Blackwell's figures there. He was fairly tidy, actually, for his 4 overs.
So new bowler coming in from the southern end of the ground. Just try and pick up who that is at the moment.
It's not Matty O'Brien, is it? No,
It's
or Jay Clay.
He's just flicking the ball in his fingertips as he strides in with a bit of pace. That ball's got a bit of pace off the bat, but it's only going to find the fielder.
Not 100% sure. I think it could be Jay Clay.
Yeah, it's Jade Clay, so apologies. We're just trying to get the numbers. And it's fantastic that the players have their numbers on the back. Otherwise, I know we've done games in the past and I've had to yell out to people randomly walking past, who's that bowling, who's that batting in, because we're often not that close to the scores or the scorers. But we've got the My Cricket scorecard in front of us. We've got the numbers on the back of the player's uniform. And that one's been forced into the off for a single.
Brandon Muir just walking past there, the coach of the Wellington Club. Might get him here for a couple of comments. Come and have a chat. No, he's not. Oh, yeah, come on.
It's a very
shy.
There are a lot of shy
coming out of
people.
vinegar.
Well, Shannon, you were not shy forthcoming from yourself, but everyone else doesn't want to come in here with you, mate. So that bit of a bottom edge. And tell you what, that was a turn and a chase back, and Corey Whitbread had to make his ground quickly, but Clay decided not to have a shot at the stumps there.
Probably was, soon as there's no fielder.
Yeah, there is a play,
but it's
fielder there, but if he's not ready, that could easily go past him. There's a little tickle on that one, just off the leg guard, I reckon. Yeah. Just getting past onto the keeper's glove. So the wind's dropped a little. It's still a bit blustery here at Old Beach. It's making it challenging as we say that, a little bit of rubbish blows across the ground. The other issue at that top end of the ground is the dust and stuff coming off the playground.
Off the ball track,
yeah. But it is clear skies here as we're welcoming in the festive season in southern Tasmania on Duff TV. SCA Festival of Cricket. Claremont are going to have to pull something out of the bag to chase this score of 216 from Old Beach.
Yeah, we're definitely behind the run rate, so...
Well, it is manageable, providing neither of these two batters get out for the next 4 or 5 overs, but the amount of sixes, I think there was we'll have a look through the stats, but there was
18.
18, was it? Yeah, so there was
17 or 18.
a lot of balls, and there's only been a couple. Well, that might be one. No, it's just bounced 4. So a loose delivery. Clay just straying into the legs, and a full toss was easy dispatch for his last ball of the over.
Just need a few more of them.
So Lockheed's getting his field set up here again, as the new bowler will be coming into the attack, as both batters having a conversation, trying to work it. Well, we've got to hit boundaries, I suppose, don't they, Shannon? Oh, they've really got to deal in 6s and 4s
we
just
need
for a little
the
while.
maximums at the moment.
Interesting thing, obviously, the boundaries do start to come.
There it is, 148 off 66. So yeah.
So David will
well and truly over 2 runs a ball at the minute. So
yeah, it's gone past.
Here he comes, the destroyer, Davin Wooldridge.
What do we expect from Wooldridge today?
Absolute heat.
Well, he's fairly tall, lad, isn't he?
Yes. With this wind, he's actually got the wind behind him, so it should get down there at rapid rates. If it was bowling at the other end, I'd actually say it'd probably struggle to get through to the keeper. Just a gentle little trundler.
Well, we love our trundlers here in the SCA and Duff TV. There's plenty of them, and they often get wickets.
He actually got me out last game I played against him.
And it's just
very similar.
You've just called it, and the 3rd wicket down here, and it's getting very, very difficult as a rabbit hole is opening up here for Claremont.
Seen a nice little white ball coming down at a very slow rate, and
well, it kind of dropped in the end, didn't it?
Tried to launch it, yes.
We'll just see a replay on that one as the Wooldridge just, as Shannon mentioned, just trundling in. Yeah, just did dip a little bit at the end. Just a little bit of applauding himself.
The destroyer.
So Matty Carr out, good innings from him. Probably need a little bit more. As Simon Laddick now, a very much capable player. We'll have to have a sparkling 20 minutes here to give Clermont any chance of a sniff of a semi-final, or maybe their heavy legs from last night's celebrations, maybe a little bit too much.
I'd say at the moment our chances are even slimmer than slim, but yeah. What about it, Matthew?
As Matty Carr just walks past the commentary position here. So Wooldridge, first ball, wicket, bowled, Carr out. And Clermont, 3 for 67.
With the run rate required, it's probably not what Lads is known for. He's a bit of a pusher. But yeah. See how he goes.
Well, nearly identical delivery, but he's played a different shot, hasn't he? He's just pushed into the off. Carr's eyes were lighting up and trying to hit the ball down the ground and lost his stumps.
Quite often the way you've the big quicks come on and, you know, keep it tight, struggle to get a wicket, and then mate comes on and rolls the arm over and gets one first bowl.
Yeah, I'd like to think that a lot of the slower pace bowlers throughout the upper end of the competition here do tend to get a lot of wickets. Just playing a little cutter there. It's in the air. There's 2 players converging on the ball, but it's going to drop in front. And it was a nice chip.
Put out the pitch and wedge.
Yeah, may have been in the gap wedge, actually, wasn't it? Went a little higher, sat in the air, but
chipped onto the green.
Just outside the reach of the fielders. So Whitbread hasn't had the strike for a while either, so he's now...
He has been starved a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Just got an extra player now.
Unfortunately, he's the bloke that's been out there for a while, so he's probably the bloke that's going to have a bit of a go.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's going to have to try and take on that leg side, I reckon. This is do or die here for Claremont. These next 2 overs, is there any chance of pulling off a remarkable victory? The next 2 are key. Well, that's going to help. It's going to run away, and it's going to run away for 4. So Shannon called for a boundary, and he got one. Backward a square. Maybe not the most authoritarian shot you're going to see. But still, as you mentioned,
end of the over and the end of my stint, it seems.
Well, no worries, Shannon. Thank you very much for coming in, mate.
A little bit dry there. I need to go and have a drink.
Let's hope that you you don't have to go out and bat for your sake, but you may well do, mate, the way it's going.
The way it's going, I might have to, but I'm sure I'll put on a performance if I get out there.
Cheers, mate.
Jacob?
Shannon McLean just gingerly getting outside the van there. So Laddick now. Try and find his range. There's been a lot of misfields today from both fielding sides. A lot of misfields when the ball's on the turf on what is generally a pretty good outfield here. Maybe not the smoothest of all the grounds, but it looks pretty good when I walked across it. But a lot of fumbles as players are trying to get into their hands and back into the stumps. A bit of work down here. They're going to get another couple. So 2s are okay. The issue, though, at the moment for Clermont, obviously it's the wickets column. But the fact they're not regularly finding the rope, they're not going over the rope. And in comparison, Rhett Lockyer, Doughton and Clay did it on regular occurrence. Nearly a 1 over. At one stage, it was nearly 1.5 boundaries and over. Now that is a chance. A gallant effort. Tried to squash it down in the end. Easily could have hit the face. May have hurt the shoulder as well. It was an awkward landing. We'll just see this one in the replay. It was in the air for a while. It was well picked up by Martin Duff in the camera. Yeah, just kind of got the hand caught under the body there. Hope he's okay. And even worse for the fielder, it went through for 4. Maybe one of those ones where you got to make the right call at the right time and maybe stay back and that's a big chance. No, shake of the head from square leg. Just making his ground in the end, Whitbread. He needed to get on his bike, and he did. There's a replay and a great bit of fielding. Well, Whitbread's found it. I feel like he's been eyeing off on that leg side boundary for a little while. He hasn't really had a lot of deliveries in his hitting zone, but he found that on that occasion. Well, a confident appeal, but looked like it was just straying down leg in the end. That's the end of the over. Not a bad one then for Clermont. The result in a few boundaries. There's one slight chance for a catch deep on the leg. And Whitbread and Laddick doing their work here for Clermont. They're a long way behind in this chase. They've got a lot of work to do. And they're going to need a substantial 15 minutes here of cricket. And they're going to need to try and get that ball onto Jetty Road a few more times. To Davin Waldridge. First ball, wicket. His last over. Not bad. So he's got a lot of protection on the leg side at the moment, Waldridge. And that's straight down the ground. It's not going to reach the fence. And a couple. Well, a little bit of initial movement then, as Laddick just snuck his way across as an initial movement to the off. I thought he was going to try and wind up and hit to the leg side, but in the end he got a, maybe even followed a little bit by Waldridge, just angled that one in towards his middle stump and worked it for a single. So they just do try a few different things here, the Clermont batters. So there's two fielders deep on the leg to left-hander. Well, he gets one full on the off. I reckon that's got the fence, has it? Yes, it has. So the like it just got I was sticking my head out of the van there just to try and see the end result of that one. And another boundary. Nice shot then from Whitbread. A couple of boundaries to him. And he's trying to get a bit of momentum back here for Claremont. He's moved on to 23. Probably on any old day on a normal ground, this is an okay start from Claremont with a chance to accelerate, but with such a large total that they're chasing here. Downton, Lockyer and Co for Old Beach is making it very difficult. Now, high up, two fielders coming around, and neither of them could get the hand on it. Well, surprising in the end. It looked like it was holding up for a while. And neither of them were able to get a hand on that one. There he comes across again. That initial movement to the off to try and hit it to the leg. Good placement of the fielder out there all day. Rhett Lockyer has had his A game on with the field positions. He's nuanced the fielders around. He's plugged gaps. He's got the angles right. There's a little bit of science, a protractor needed sometimes to keep things steady. And the other thing at the moment for Old Beach is they can just chew through some overs. And suddenly Clermont have probably got 15 or 16 runs an over to get. It's climbing up towards it. That's the end of the over. So it looked like a change of bowling here. So there we go, 119, 48 balls. 2.5 runs of delivery at the moment. So Cartledge's next delivery. Yeah, good bit of fielding there, just a backward point. Good start here from Cartledge. Just jamming the ball in. Can go the journey though. He's had a few expensive games
so far in the Big Bash games, the Super Big Bash. Got a third grade game, a couple of third grade games there as well. Right, so Laddick on strike. He's got a slight change of field here. So deep mid-wicket. Trundle's out as the breeze starts to pick up again. Lockie is now just trying to get his offside field set. So he's got another player coming inside into an extra cover. He's got a bit of space behind square, but it's a difficult shot down the grounds protected as he aborts to run up. It's really a field that he can do at the moment, like here, because of the run rate required. They need a boundary pretty much every second delivery. And that's not going to result in one, just a single. Both players have really got to try and hit a boundary every ball now. It's at the stage where getting close to 6 overs left. They haven't quite hit the 100 mark. Plenty of wickets still in the shed. Maybe just lacking a couple of top order batters here today, Clermont. So Lockie's bowled out, bowled his 4. Blackwell, I thought, did a great job. 4 overs, 1 for 28. Clay's first couple of overs weren't too bad from the southern end of the ground. And Wooldridge, a wicket with his first ball. But after 13, the 100 is up. 3 down, 7 overs to go. 116 runs is the target. All right, now here's Matty O'Brien. I was waiting for him to come on, so he's going to come from this end of the ground where it was set up with Martin Duffy high up on the boom box. A while to get his field right. Now he's in. That could run away. Races down towards the southern end of the ground and a nice little leg glance. And with that shot, they've got a little third man, I should say a fine leg in place, who's to see on the replay. At no stage was Justin Cartledge too interested in chasing that one. There is an opportunity down the ground though at the moment with the length that O'Brien's bowling. If they want to take him on, I reckon it's down the ground. They've got a mid-on in place inside the circle. And just for a second he thought that Whitbread was going to have a go at that, but he just held himself back and controlled the shot. Just worked a single to the off. I think it's a really safe spot. We've seen a lot of sixes and boundaries hit the other end of the ground. It's been a bit of a favourite spot for both batting sides. And it was, in fact, O'Brien late in the innings for Old Beecher. Really put a little bit of cream on top. Laddick's going to go. That's a great shot from Laddick. He just manipulated his wrists and found some space and overthrew cover point for 4. Goes to leg again. Really wants that Jetty Road area of the ground. He's trying to get it where the Lockie was hitting his boundaries. I think he may need to just try and hit it straight back down. Stay really still, try and knock it back down through mid-off, maybe even back over extra cover, because he's getting mostly deliveries outside off. And there's one again. This time he's hit it to the left-hand side of the fielder out there, another boundary. So maybe that's a strategy from Laddick. Get rid of that big waft he's trying to do to leg. Control himself, and that's the end of the over. A couple of boundaries. We'll just see on the replay. Just sat inside, or stood inside the line of that one. Nicely worked behind backward point, and 4 runs. So I've got some more help in the commentary position now. Ross, welcome.
Yeah, good to be here. President of the Old Beach Cricket Club.
So how long have you been in the role for?
About 44 years.
Surely you get long service leave after that amount of time.
No, they're trying to rack me up for another 10 years.
So heart and bread, as that one races out towards the boundary, it's going to find it. Valiant effort from both fielders. The ground's a good nick at the moment, Ross. It looks like it's been pretty well maintained and nice and short, the grass.
It's good. Years ago, we looked after the ground ourselves. It was a public ground.
Yep.
And we gave it to the council, and you can see the results have been terrific.
Well, they certainly do a great job. Clarence Council, all the grounds here on the Eastern Shore.
Oh, this is Brighton Council.
Brighton Council. Well, there you go. Even better then.
Yeah.
We're just in the Brighton municipality, are we? Just.
Yeah.
You'd be pretty happy, Ross, at the moment in the position for Old Beach. You're obviously looking for a grand final position. They can pretty much smell it at the moment.
Well, fingers crossed.
Certainly some hard work here for Clermont. There's Whitbread back on strike. There's Cartledge doing a good job from the southern end of the ground, probably the end of the ground. Where neither team has had a great amount of success as that's knocked down for a single. So, Ross, what brought you to the Old Beach Cricket Club?
Built a house out here 50 odd years ago.
You have been one of the originals, were you, in this area?
6 houses here when we come here.
Really, 6? Well, as I drove through today, and I usually work in Bridgewater often, and there's a lot more houses here at the moment. Winding it up, couldn't find the space. And is at a fairly young community here as well. Obviously got a strong junior team for many years, but I know that talking to Paul before, you're saying you've been trying to drive numbers up in the senior team at the moment. Has that been a bit of a challenge for the club?
Yes, it has been. We've been very lucky. We picked up Jared Denton and Rhett Lockyer this year.
Well, Rhett's been fantastic. I know, I've noticed, admiring his captaincy at the moment, his ability to manipulate the field, get the angles right. He's really worked the nuance of this ground, because I imagine it's a hard ground to captain, particularly when players are trying to smack everything.
Yeah.
So another over gone here, and I can feel and sense at 3 for 121. Claremont may have just had their dash done. It's Laddick and Whitbread. They haven't got a wicket for a while here, Old Beach, but they've kept things steady, and they need at the moment more than 2 a ball. So it's a pretty hard task. And continuing here from the northern end of the ground is Matty O'Brien, who hit some lusty blows at the back end of the Old Beach innings, and he's going to be trundling in here to Laddick. So what, Ross, what keeps you coming back? 45 plus years as a involvement in a club. I mean, as volunteers are obviously really important in sport, but what keeps you coming back?
I just love cricket. I enjoy being around young people, I suppose.
Did you play yourself?
Yes. Yes.
Well, there was a chance for a stumping and a bowled. We might have another look at that in the replay. I think Bill Laurie calls it. Is that the one where he calls it everything's happening?
Oh.
Or it's all happening. So he's come down the wicket, nearly bowled him, and then nearly stumped. Classic suburban cricket right there.
I don't think Shorty'd be happy with that.
Good bit of fielding down there, long on, just a couple. Yeah, no, he sort of had his opportunity. Maybe surprised it actually came to in the end, didn't he? And then suddenly thought, hang on, I've got to get it out of my gloves.
It's only about his second go at keeping, so.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So you're missing a keeper today, Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah. A few other players missing out of the team as well?
No, it's probably just weak keeper.
Once again into the action there is Justin Little. He's had a bit of work to do. Yeah, Clermont missing a couple, so you just got the keeper out. Who's your usual keeper, Ross?
Justin Little, and he's got a crook finger.
Okay. The risk of being a wicket keeper is you've always got a busted finger.
And Adam Lynch, he's unavailable. So.
Whitbread back on strike, so 2 men deep on the leg for him. He thought about it for a while, but ended up hitting it to the off, straight to the infield. So really keeping things tight at the moment. O'Brien, his first over, offered a few boundary opportunities, but it's been right on the money, and they'll be keen to keep Whitbread on strike. He's probably had a little less success at finding the rope than Simon Laddick, who's hit some nice shots. There we go. Fielder out there, though. So you've got a lot of junior clubs teams still here, or they drifted away over the years?
Only one, but we've got a really good team of under 15.
Do you think the demographics have changed over the years as well in this community, Ross?
It has. When I was out here, it was mainly young people.
Yep.
Then it got on to a bit older people. We got older, but now the younger people, the new house,
coming back with the new subdivisions.
Yeah, so it's been good.
And as a club, how do you kind of get them interested in cricket?
Well, we're very fortunate. We've got really good club rooms, which is probably, I reckon, one of the best facilities in our association anyway. And that's open to social members, so seeing there's no licensed facilities in the area, we are it.
So you can obviously offer things for families and social, and obviously you can provide a place for people to come and socialise, which is obviously a critical part of cricket. That's the end of another over. And we're winding down here. We've got a game coming up after this one. And they'll be taking on Old Beach, would imagine, at this stage. Wellington, New Norfolk, it will be a doozy. 2 teams that love playing against each other. And maybe at the moment it's only individual glory for both these Clermont batters.
We'll be watching with interest.
Is there a team you preference to play?
Not on air.
Is there a team that you have a strong rivalry with?
Oh, probably both.
Yeah. It's a very tight-knit competition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most of the teams are predominantly played in the top tier.
Yeah.
And obviously Old Beach has been one of the standout clubs, but Wellington have such a strong team. Had a lot of successes. That's a nice shot down the ground. That actually might even go for 4. That's a great shot. Well, that was timed. And another nice boundary from Laddick. He's having a good little innings here. Whitbread on 45. Laddick now into the 30s. When you look at it just objectively, 128. That's a classic cricket shot. 132, in fact, for 3. And this over is not a bad score as a general rule, but such a big challenge, 216. Just a bit too much as trying to go down the ground again. So is the club rooms open on other occasions?
Yes, Friday nights and Sunday nights and once a month, the first Friday night in the month, we have Easy Tea, we call Easy Tea, and put on a meal for about $7 for the locals.
There you go. Anyone wandering around Old Beach or coming past, they want a very affordable fee by the sound of that.
Got a very good women's working committee. If you go in there, you'll see them in the kitchen now, working well.
In the air, out. It's been a while. Old Beach get one. A neat catch down at long off.
Matty O'Brien.
And Justin Cartledge gets a wicket, and it's a reward for some good work from him. And looks like finally Jake Clements, who's been padded up for a while, will stride in. So O'Brien with the catch, pretty comfortable. Maybe the fielding hasn't been spot on today, Ross. There's been a few missed fields.
Yeah,
but that was a nice catch. It was coming with some pace. And a good innings has ended here. And the 4th wicket down. So the ladies that are doing the lunches, and as we see in the replay, the catch there was a good catch in the end. They've been around for a while. They hardcore volunteers for Old Beach Cricket Club, Ross?
Yes, they are. Yep, we're very fortunate. We've got a really good committee. You need it because it costs a bit to run a club these days.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a bunch of complications there running a cricket club, being the president of a maybe not such a big club in the Southern Cricket Association. There's a bit of work. Obviously, you've got affiliations and insurance and spaces to maintain, compliance and member protection, which is obviously a really important thing now with Cricket Australia and vice versa. So the players did cross. So Laddick will be on strike. Whitbread just out after a fine innings from him. Well, that's a fine shot. That's going all the way. Smacks into the fence. Dawn raises the arms for 6. Great little shot from Laddick. He's now climbing up towards a half century, and on the replay, threw the hands at it, went very high in the air, and another 6 down towards that bottom end of the ground. He's trying it again. Could be out. And a comfortable catch. So a couple of wickets in the over. That's the end of it. And Laddick, after a lusty blow, next delivery tried to take on the long on boundary again. Just needed a couple of more metres and couldn't quite find it. So there's sort of a busy job, obviously volunteering. Ross, you've got had a life outside of volunteering for the cricket club here at Old Beach?
Motorhomer.
There you go.
Yeah, we go away most windows.
And where have been the last travels?
This year we went as far as Mackay, inland into the outback, and then down the coast at 9 weeks.
Well, there you go. I think the nomads, as they nomadically move up from Tasmania up into the northern parts of... my parents did it for a year and a half as well. So maybe Gerard and I will have to take the van, mate, the Duff van. We'll take it up. We might bring Martin Duffy as well. We'll go for a trip.
You can make a nice home out of this one.
Yeah, I think Martin takes the tables out now and again, and he and his partner, they go for a bit of a travel around Tassie now and again. So the game winding down here. Clermont are a long way behind. They've only got 3 overs left, and they've got 76 runs that they need to get. So you'd pretty much say that is no chance. So Clements and Clark at the crease. Clements is the player which is about to face up. Matthew O'Brien to continue. And out. Well, Shannon was in the commentary position a little while ago. He may have to go and put the pads on. There's 6 down now. And the end is very near. So Lachlan Dome, the new batter in. Didn't see too much of him in the field, so he's got a job to go out there. He may not be a regular first grader, actually. Yeah, so generally a 5th grade player, just going back through the scorecard for Lachlan Dome for this season. So another one of the players that is filling in, ensuring that Clermont have a team for this probably under strength team up against a very much full strength or close to full strength Old Beach side. So Dome to face O'Brien. Just getting himself set. So he's got 4 players to try and get the ball past on the offside. 1 player just defending on the cover, deep cover fence. A little bit of protection on the leg side as well. So you've actually managed to pick up some good players this year that you mentioned, Rhett Lockie being one of those players. What are they kind of attracted to a club like Old Beach, Ross?
We're very fortunate. They come and had a look and like what they saw, and it's really good for our young team too. They get involved, the under-15s as well.
So they're really invested themselves in the club, both
Yes.
Rhett and also Andrew Doughton as well.
Yeah, Jared Denton.
Jared Denton, I should say. Andrew Doughton. So that one's looped up a little bit and just knocked down the ground. And you've obviously got Paul Rogers as the coach. He's been around for a little while.
Oh, a long time. He's a life member.
Another stalwart of the Old Beach Cricket Club.
Been here for many years.
As now we're just mildly going through the motions as we finish off. We've got the next T20 semi-final coming up. O'Brien's over's done. There's 2 left. 6 down, 143 on the board. And you can see on the target, 216. Clements and Dome at the crease. As maybe they'll look at it for a little bit of red ink. Not a bad crowd coming in. You've got a bit of a wet area set up too here on the left-hand side as well, Ross?
Yeah, to the left and round past, down the other side as well, past the club rooms.
So people that are interested in coming down to see the grand final later on this afternoon, come on down. There's some good space. It's a nice bit of weather now. The wind's dropped down. Should be a really entertaining grand final. Old Beach are already in unless there's some sort of forfeit or bizarre moment and 10 sixes in a row. It'll be Old Beach in the grand final. Well, there we go. Like the look of that one. Clements has found the fence. 4:30, grand final start, I think, today. Yeah, I think it's 4:30 or 4. So 4 o'clock is the grand final. So you will see the green and gold of Old Beach playing in that one. Clermont, hopefully the lads will hang around a little bit for, although I believe there's a few characters out there that are probably not wanting to drink too much alcohol after a big Friday night. Cartley trying to go to leg again, but there is a fielder there. So Justin Carley just trying to get his offside field. Dome whips his hands through it. Has a second guess about the run, and in the end he gets called through by Clements. And a single. Well, that's a top edge. It's not going to go for 4 up that little bit of a slope, and would have been a run out as well. Well, we nearly had a top edge catch. It was an interesting shot and nearly a run out. So we're getting to the back end of the game of cricket, and I don't think either side's too fussed about the specific outcome of the next couple of overs, but should have probably been out in the end. So, Ross, what's the key to keeping an Old Beach, a club like this going? I mean, obviously, good committee members yourself and you know, really good, solid volunteers. But what do you think is the #1 key? You've obviously got great facilities here, but is there something else extra for the club's need?
Well, we try to create a family environment. You know, if you haven't got the family involved, it makes it hard. And you'll probably see if you have a look around the corner, the amount of kids that'll be here. Father Christmas will be coming out.
Well, there you go.
Before long.
Fantastic. What time's Father Christmas coming?
Oh, when he gets dressed. Oh, no, when he comes on his reindeer.
Yeah. Well, you'll hear the jingle bells at some stage. So, looking forward to that. And obviously the kids will get rather excited. Does the club link in with any of the schools, kind of in Gagebrook, or obviously there's no school in Old Beach? That looks very close, yes. So a late wicket here. and an LB, and I think both of us here in the commentary position were putting our fingers up as soon as that one thudded into the pad. Good to see this one on the replay. Oh, Jerry's made it hard for us. He's gone the side on replay. It's Jay Clay there. Still give it out, I reckon, Ross, wouldn't we?
Well,
certainly looked. Standing up here, just looking through a little gap in the back of the van here, and that one hit him on the full and out. Rightio, so Aaron Barclay coming out. So Clement's the man out, and Barclay comes to the crease. Great bit of fielding off his own bowling. Well done there to Clay. He's had a good day today. He's bowled well. Has he been here for a few years, Clay?
Yeah, he's a life member too.
Yeah, I thought he'd been around for a while.
A long time. About 12 years, I thought, you could imagine.
Well, he had a fine innings today. He kept everything ticking over when not many wickets were really falling. And as soon as it looked like Clermont were just pulling themselves back into it, a little bit of work here to get back for the second. There's half an appeal, but I think he was okay. Jay Clay just stepped it up and he kept the momentum, kept the boundaries coming. Hit some very big sixes down towards the southern end of the ground, and really was a fine innings of 67 in the end. And now he's doing a good job with the ball. The last couple of deliveries here, 155 in isolation. It's not a bad score for Claremont, but they're a long way behind and on a fast-scoring ground with quick outfield. Nowhere near enough. Oh, there's a squirty boundary down towards fine leg. Well, Ross, I think your boys are definitely in it now, unless some miracle happens, and a couple of balls to go. You better relax for the next game and just watch the proceedings go ahead.
That'll be good. Looking forward to the last game. The next game will be really good too.
I think we've got a cracking game coming up. Two big rivalries in Norfolk and Wellington, two perennial teams that always feature at the back end of T20 and also the 50 over tournament. So it's been a day out at the moment. Lockyer and his team through to a grand final in a few hours' time. The second team unknown yet. His captaincy's been outstanding. He bowled some good overs at the top, number 1 for 28 off his 4. He's been backed up well by his team. They've fielded well. Claremont just never really got things going. And the hands of the shake, so we're done here. Old Beach through to the grand final. Claremont will sit it out. And we'll have another game coming up with a quick little rundown in a minute. Thanks, Ross, for coming in. We really thank the club. I know that you've probably been supportive of Duff TV and the SCA having the day here. Well, I hope you have a great afternoon. We might chat to you later on. There's maybe a winning president for the Old Beach Cricket Club. Thanks very much.
And thanks for you supporting this event too.
Our pleasure. That's Ross there, president. Yeah, Old Beach Cricket Club there. And we'll just have a bit of a rundown here of the scorecard before we head into the next game and have a little bit of a break and a bit of a snack. So a comfortable victory in the end for Old Beach. Really never got things started. So just to recap, the Old Beach Cricket Club got off to a flyer. Rhett Lockyer, Clay, Denton all at the top, and then some late hitting from O'Brien with a couple of sixes towards the back end. Martin with 3 wickets. And then in the response, well, wickets fell early. Penniston went early, then Martin. There's a good partnership where over 50 was put on between Whitbread and Carr. Matty Carr launched a couple of nice sixes. Whitbread was more controlled, 45 off his 38 balls faced with 7 boundaries. Laddick, I thought, did a good job. 6 for him and 4 boundaries, 40 off 25. And it just fell away a little bit late, as in the end, 153 was the target. What was the score in the end? 159, in fact. So Lockyer at the top, 1-4-28 off his 4 overs. Blackwell bowled really well. He got a wicket too. Clay came in and bowled his few overs and came in late as well. Wooldridge, 1-4-15 off his couple. Cartledge, 4 overs at the top, 2 for 34. And O'Brien as well. 3 overs, 1-4-23. So we're going to have a break here. There is the next teams, Wellington, warming up, huddled around. New Norfolk are on the other side of the ground to them, all warming up and getting set and ready to go. It's T20 action here. It's Southern Cricket Association. You're on Duff TV. Aaron Peach Roberts, and we'll be back to you for the next installation of the T20 semi-finals. Wellington versus New Norfolk in not too far a time away. That's about the right spot.
And that's out.
That's found the fielder.
That's point, backward point. Yeah, he's gone.
Well, wonderful catch. Important wicket. And Old Beach firm even further now as Clermont, the point area. And there's 3. He's going to be bowling very much into the body. And that's a wicket.
That's enough.
Well,
makes it a little bit tougher.
Well, it makes it extremely tough. Second down. Lockie got it. Cramping up. Martin takes his gloves off. Disappointment of Claremont at 2 down. If Nostradamus to work that out, just remember the optics at the moment are run out territory. He's got 1 player deep on the leg, just protecting that straight delivery that Blackwell bowls. He hasn't bowled too many there. Most of them have been
nice looking strike.
And that backward a point and a boundary.
Almost doubled our score.
Yeah. It's got a bit of a spread field at the moment. So it's a long off, long on, and he hits it to leg, and that's going to find the fence. Well, it's nearly touching distance there on the leg side. What do you reckon? 40, 45 metres there, Shannon, I reckon?
Yeah, it's quite short.
And there's a little bit of an uphill gradient there. Too close.
Yeah, it's a bit hard. It's just like that side of the ground. Definitely the area you'd probably be targeting at the moment, but as a bowler, you'd be trying to put it outside off.
Well, all he's targeted there.
There it is.
Is the BMX and skate track over there. That's gone for 6. And that's a sec. Well, we haven't seen too many Yorkers. I noticed in your innings, Arnold bowled a really good first over. He bowled a bunch of good 4 or 5 overs, but the amount of 6s, I think there was, we'll have a look through the stats, but there was
18.
18, was it? Yeah, so there was
17 or 18.
A lot of balls, and there's only been a couple. Well, that might be 1. No, it's just bounced 4. So a loose delivery. Clay just straying into the legs, and a full toss was easy dispatch for his last. Well, we love our trundlers here in the SCA and Duff TV. There's plenty of them, and they often get wickets.
He actually got me out last game I played against him.
And it's just
very similar.
You've just called it. And the 3rd wicket down here. And it's getting very, very 2 overs. Is there any chance of pulling off a remarkable victory? The next 2 are key. Well, that's going to help. It's going to run away, and it's going to run away for 4. So Shannon called for a boundary, and he got one. Backward a square. Maybe not the most authoritarian shot you're going to see. Did it on regular occurrence. Nearly a 1 over. At one stage, it was nearly 1.5 boundaries and over. Now that is a chance. A gallant effort. Tried to squash it down in the end. Easily could have hit the face. And even worse for the fielder, it went through for 4. Maybe one of those ones where you just got to make the right call at the right time and maybe stay back and that's a big chance. No, shake of the head from square leg. Just making his ground in the end, Whitbread. He needed to get on his bike. So there's 2 fielders deep on the leg to left-hander. Well, he gets one full on the off. I reckon that's got the fence, has it? Yes, it has. So the like it just got I'll stick my head out of the van there just to try and see a large total that they're chasing here. Downton, Lockyer and Co for Old Beach is making it very difficult. Now, high up, 2 fielders coming around and neither of them could get the hand on it. Taking a while to get his field right. Now he's in. And that could run away. Races down towards the southern end of the ground and a nice little leg glance. Other end of the ground. It's been a bit of a favourite spot for both batting sides. And it was, in fact, O'Brien late in the innings for Old Beach. It really put a little bit of cream on top. Laddick's going to go. That's a great shot from Laddick.
President of the Old Beach Cricket Club.
So how long have you been in the role for?
About 44 years.
Surely you get long service leave after that amount of time.
No, they're trying to reckon up for another long 10 years.
So heart and bread, as that one races out towards the boundary, it's going to find it. Valiant effort from both fielders. The ground's in good nick at the moment, Ross. It looks like it's involvement in a club. I mean, volunteers are obviously really important in sport, but what keeps you coming back?
I just love cricket. I enjoy being around young people, I suppose.
Did you play yourself?
Yes. Yes.
Well, there was a chance for a stumping and a bowled. We might have another look at that. Old Beach has been, one of the standout clubs, but Wellington have such a strong team. Had a lot of successes. That's a nice shot down the ground. That actually might even go for 4. That's a great shot. Well, that was timed. And another nice boundary from Laddick. He's having a good little...
Got a very good women's working committee. If you go in there, you'll see them in the kitchen now, working well.
In the air, out. It's been a while. Old Beach get one. A neat catch down at long off.
Matty O'Brien.
And just... So the players did cross, so Laddick will be on strike. Whitbread just out after a fine innings from him. Well, that's a fine shot. That's going all the way. Smacks into the fence. Dawn raises the arms for 6. The replay threw the hands at it, went very high in the air. And another 6 down towards that bottom end of the ground. He's trying it again. Could be out. And a comfortable catch. So a couple of the Old Beach in the grand final. Well, there we go. Like the look of that one. Clements has found the fence. Does the club link in with any of the schools kind of engage, Brooke? Or obviously there's no school in Old Beach. That looks very close, yes. So a late wicket here. And an LB, and I think both of us here in the commentary position were putting out. Great bit of fielding off his own bowling. Well done there to Clay. He's had a good day today. He's bowled well.